Chapter 852. The moment this figure appeared, he exploded with a shocking aura that was comparable to a quasi-divine ability level 9 expert. At the same time, some people recognized his origin and revealed a terrified expression. 1. Hao City's city lord, Huang Kunshan. His image clone actually came here. Young noble blood refinement is in trouble now. Huang Kunshan is a peak level 8 expert. Even if it's just an image clone, his strength is still extremely shocking. I wonder how young noble blood refinement will deal with this? Huang Kunshan isn't easy to deal with. However, I'm more curious about how Huang Kunshan will react after knowing young noble blood refinement's identity. Looking at the silhouette in the air, the human side moved their heads. All of them had expectant gazes. You? Who are you? Where is Vice City Lord Ma and the rest? Huang Kunshan's image clone revealed a surprised expression when he saw Mo Qingyun in front of him. He questioned Mo Qingyun coldly. He was the one who gave the celestial heaven trapping net to Ma Daiping. Now that Ma Daiping and the rest were nowhere to be seen, a Heaven Dipper realm kid wanted to take the celestial heaven trapping net. This situation was too abnormal. An image clone of a peak level 8 transcendent realm expert. Looking at the image clone in front of him, Mo Qingyun's expression froze. His eyes were filled with vigilance as he thought to himself, "This image clone appeared because I touched the celestial heaven trapping net. From the looks of it, it should be the image clone of the owner of the celestial heaven trapping net. Only one Hao City's city lord, Huang Kunshan, is at the peak of level 8 in the one Hao City. Then, he should be Huang Kunshan's image clone." After pondering for a while, Mo Qingyun quickly found out about the other party's identity. A sense of vigilance rose in his heart. The city lord of one of the 10 great sacred cities, Huang Kunshan, was at the peak of level 8 in the divine ability realm. This showed how extraordinary he was. Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate anymore. He quickly retreated and maintained a distance from Huang Kunshan. "Young lord." When Mo Qingyun maintained a distance from Huang Kunshan, Rong Ho and the rest quickly came to his side and protected him in the middle. 2 level 8 divine ability experts and several level 7 divine ability experts. At the sight of Rong Ho and the others, the expression of Huang Kunshan's clone immediately changed. Astonishment rose in his heart as he quickly thought of a possibility. Ma Daiping and the others might have been killed by these people. You killed Ma Daiping and the others? At the thought of what had happened to Ma Daiping and the others, Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's expression turned cold as he glared at Mo Qingyun and the others. "That's right. You should be Wenhao City's city lord, Huang Kunshan, right?" Mo Qingyun didn't try to hide the fact that Huang Kunshan's clone was questioning him. This kind of thing couldn't be hidden anyway. Moreover, now that Rong Ho and the others had arrived by his side, he didn't have to fear Huang Kunshan's clone. On the contrary, Mo Qingyun was thinking of using this opportunity to destroy Huang Kunshan's image clone. He should be able to injure Huang Kunshan. "Brat, how dare you kill my Wenhao City's people? You're courting death." After confirming from Mo Qingyun that Ma Daiping and the others had been killed, the expression of Huang Kunshan's doppelganger instantly turned gloomy. He raised his hand and blasted towards Mo Qingyun and the others. Apocalyptic lightning palm. A terrifying bolt of lightning condensed on the palm of Huang Kunshan's doppelganger. It flashed with a dazzling light as if it was going to break the sky. At this moment, under the shocking lightning, the light in the world became bright and dim, causing people to be in awe of it. As soon as the lightning palm was formed, it soared into the sky and pressed down on Mo Qingyun and the others. Mysterious underworld yin-yang sword, soaring eagle. Facing the powerful attack of Huang Kunshan's doppelganger, Rong Ho and the others didn't dare to hesitate. They immediately drew their swords and slashed towards the sky. The 2 sword rays, one yin and one yang, immediately converged into an eagle and flew towards the lightning palm. Bang! 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 The eagle's sword rays bombarded the lightning palm and immediately created a series of loud bangs, causing the flames to shoot out in all directions. Bang! 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 However, after the lightning palm came into contact with the sword rays, it continuously exploded and destroyed the sword rays that were blocking it. Very quickly, the sword rays that Rong Ho and the others slashed out dissipated in midair under the powerful bombardment of the lightning palm. Fortunately, after Rong Ho and the others blocked it, the power of the lightning palm weakened significantly. Even so, the power of the lightning palm was still terrifying. Mysterious underworld yin-yang sword, riding the wind and breaking the waves. Seeing that the lightning palm was still approaching, Rong Ho didn't dare to hesitate and immediately blocked it again. Under the full power of Rong Ho and the others, they finally blocked the remaining power of the lightning palm. Huang Kunshan's doppelganger didn't mind that his palm was blocked. He smiled indifferently and said, "You do have some skills. However, with just this little bit of skill, all of you will be buried with Deputy City Lord Ma and the others today." "Huang Kunshan, you're wrong. Today, it's not us who will be buried with Ma Daiping and the others. It's your doppelganger who will be buried with Huang Wenbao and the others." In response to Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's words, Emo Qingyun smiled indifferently and retorted. Then, Emo Qingyun moved his hands and quickly formed a mini version of the light door. "Sealed door, seal it!" As soon as the sealed door was formed, Emo Qingyun blasted it out without hesitation and blasted it towards Huang Kunshan's doppelganger. "Humph! You overestimate yourself. How dare a Heavenly Star Realm brat attack me?" In response to Emo Qingyun's attack, Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's face was filled with disdain and ridicule. In his opinion, Emo Qingyun's attack was no different from an ant trying to shake a big tree. As soon as he finished speaking, Huang Kunshan's doppelganger waved his hand and wanted to destroy the sealed door easily. Seeing Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's actions, Rong Ho and the others sneered and their eyes were filled with ridicule and pride. Was the sealed door so easy to break? Under the ridicule of Rong Ho and the others, the sealed door blasted into Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's body and started to seal his origin energy and divine soul. After being sealed by the sealed door, Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's aura immediately weakened. Not only that, but his doppelganger's solidification also slowly faded. How could this be? My cultivation. Sensing the drop in his cultivation, Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's expression immediately revealed a hint of panic. This kind of situation was too out of his expectations. Not only did a Heavenly Star Realm brat's attack injure him, but it also sealed his doppelganger's cultivation. This scene had already exceeded his understanding. Did a Heavenly Star Realm brat have this ability? Following that, Huang Kunshan affected the cultivation of the clone, and under his fear, it fell to the late stage of the 7th level of the divine arts. Rong Ho, do it! While Huang Kunshan's doppelganger was panicking, Emo Qingyun revealed a cold expression and instructed Rong Ho and the others. Yes, young lord. Chapter 853. While Rong Ho and the others were attacking Huang Kunshan's doppelganger, Emo Qingyun did not stay idle. He continued to collect the celestial trapping net. As Emo Qingyun collected the celestial trapping net again, Huang Kunshan's soul energy stopped him again. "Humph! You want to stop me with a spirit origin stage soul brand?" Sensing the strength of the soul imprint within the celestial heaven trapping net, Emo Qingyun sneered and shouted, "Break for me!" As soon as he finished speaking, Emo Qingyun released a wave of soul energy and blasted it into the celestial trapping net. Following that, a miserable shriek rang out from the mouth of Huang Kunshan's clone. His expression was one of terror as he said, "Brat, you actually destroyed the soul imprint I left in the astral heaven trapping net. It's just a spirit origin stage soul brand. How difficult is it for me to destroy it?" In response to Huang Kunshan's doppelganger's shock, Emo Qingyun replied calmly and kept the celestial trapping net in his hand. "Boy, I'll remember this. Just wait for me to step into Sky Moon City. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had taken the celestial trapping net, Huang Kunshan did not want his doppelganger to stay any longer and was ready to let it leave. He had a feeling that if he did not leave now, his doppelganger would not be able to leave in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, Huang Kunshan's doppelganger dissipated and disappeared from the world. Want to escape? Do you think you can escape? Seeing Huang Kunshan's action, Emo Qingyun sneered and raised his hand to release the celestial trapping net. Celestial trapping net trap. As soon as the celestial trapping net was released, it expanded rapidly and instantly enveloped Huang Kunshan's doppelganger. Star. Image trapping net. Seeing that his doppelganger was enveloped by the celestial trapping net, Huang Kunshan immediately exclaimed in horror. Although his doppelganger could merge with the Yuan Qi of heaven and earth, if even the Yuan Qi of heaven and earth was isolated, he naturally could not escape. For example, a spoon of salt could be dissolved in water, but if the water was contained in a cup, then the salt would remain in the cup. The young lord is wise to come up with such a method to deal with him. If Huang Kunshan's image clone was in his own magical equipment, he would probably die from anger. It's just that now that Huang Kunshan's image clone has dissipated, we can't find him, so it's not easy to deal with him. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Rong Ho and the others all revealed looks of admiration. At the same time, they also felt a headache as to how they should deal with Huang Kunshan's clones. Brat, so what if you've trapped me? As long as I don't show myself, you can't do anything to me. At this moment, while Rong Ho and the others were having a headache over how to deal with Huang Kunshan's image clone, Huang Kunshan's image clone said something complacent. Huang Kunshan, while others might not be able to do anything to you, I am able to take care of you. Hearing Huang Kunshan's confident words, Emo Qingyun coldly replied and took out a jade talisman that flickered with light. The moment the jade talisman appeared, it released a dazzling light that shone on the celestial trapping heaven net. Under the illumination of the light, Huang Kunshan's image clone that was hidden in the celestial trapping heaven net gradually revealed itself. After seeing this scene, Rong Ho and the others were shocked once again. The respect they had for Emo Qingyun in their hearts grew even stronger. They really did not expect that Emo Qingyun would actually have such a treasure. It was simply the nemesis of image clones. Huang Kunshan, let's see how your image clone will hide now. Seeing Huang Kunshan's image clone reveal itself, Rong Ho and the others revealed a cold smile as they spoke in a sinister tone. How can this be? You? What magical equipment is this? Seeing his figure reveal itself, Huang Kunshan revealed a terrified expression as he spoke in a panic. At present, Emo Qingyun's method had completely shattered his understanding. More importantly, his image clone had nowhere to hide. The only path left for him was death. Rong Ho Qilian, kill it! Emo Qingyun ignored the terror of Huang Kunshan's image clone as he coldly instructed Rong Ho and the others. Yes, young lord. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Rong Ho and the others immediately nodded and accepted the order. They quickly approached the celestial trapping heaven net. Following which, Emo Qingyun opened a gap in the celestial trapping heaven net and allowed Rong Ho and the others to enter and deal with Huang Kunshan's image clone. Brat, I will definitely return today's grudge 10 times, 100 times in the future. Before Huang Kunshan's image clone died, it revealed a sinister expression as it spoke in an unwilling tone. Seeing Huang Kunshan's image clone being tortured to death, the surrounding people were all stunned. They couldn't accept this result for a long time. Under the attack of Emo Qingyun and the others, Huang Kunshan's image clone, which was at the peak of the 8th level of the divinity, was brutally tortured to death just like that. This result was a little too shocking for the crowd. A powerhouse at the 8th level of the divinity was like a god in their eyes. But Emo Qingyun had actually killed him in such a domineering manner. Following which, the reverence in everyone's eyes towards Emo Qingyun increased significantly. as expected of the son of the blood refiner demon king. The strength of his methods is incomparable. He's only in the heavens star border and he already has such methods. If he reaches the divinity realm, he'll probably be invincible among those below the sovereign level. Have you ever thought about what would happen if young Lord Blood Refiner's cultivation reached the sovereign level? Invincible in the Tianhun continent. Thinking of the final result, the crowd couldn't help but tremble. They looked at Emo Qingyun with fervent gazes. Could it be that they were going to witness the rise of a legend? Let's go back. Emo Qingyun didn't pay attention to the crowd's reaction. After instructing Qi Lian and the others, he walked into the Ren residence. Arriving at the Ren residence, Emo Qingyun didn't delay at all. He immediately went to find Ren Tianxiang and the others. "Qingyun, you're here. Come and take a seat." Seeing Emo Qingyun arrive at the meeting hall, Ren Tianxiang revealed a humble expression and gave the main seat to Emo Qingyun. He had no choice. Now that he had witnessed Emo Qingyun's strength, he didn't dare to continue putting on airs. "Patriarch Ren, there's no need to be so polite." Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and waved his hand at Ren Tianxiang's actions. His expression turned serious as he said, "This time, I killed Ma Daiping and the others. I also destroyed one of Huang Kunshan's image clones. He definitely won't let this matter rest. In order to prevent him from taking his anger out on the Ren family, I think you should move the Ren family out of Sun Moon City." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Ren Tianxiang and the others were hesitant. Their Ren family had been in Sun Moon City for thousands of years. Now that they suddenly had to leave, they couldn't bear to do so. "Think about it and give me an answer tomorrow." Chapter 854. Patriarch, what should we do? Do we really have to migrate out of Sun Moon City? What should we do if we don't leave Sun Moon City? What if Huang Kunshan comes for revenge? Can our Ren family withstand it? I think that Emo Qingyun must have thought of a way out for us to escape by suggesting this. After Emo Qingyun walked into the great conference hall, Elder Ren Wan and the others had solemn expressions on their faces as they discussed among themselves. Ren Tianxiang was silent for a moment when he saw the reactions of the elders. Then, he said, "Elders, have you thought about it? Previously, our Ren family was bullied by the Jia family mainly because we didn't have any backing. Now that an opportunity is in front of us, I think we should seize it." "Patriarch, do you mean that our Ren family should rely on Qingyun's palace?" As soon as Ren Tianxiang spoke, Elder Ren Wan and the others understood what he meant and asked tentatively, "What do you mean?" At this moment, an elder frowned and revealed a reluctant expression. He said, "But if we do that, wouldn't our Ren family be relying on someone else's charity?" Hearing this elder's words, Elder Ren Wan shook his head indifferently and said in a deep voice, "Elder Ren Qianxi, I think you haven't seen the current situation clearly. Now that even the Rong family has become a vassal force of the Clear Cloud Palace, I'm worried that Emo Qingyun may not accept our Ren family." "Elder Ren Wan, please take your words seriously. With Emo Qingyun's current strength, he might not take a liking to our Ren family." As soon as Elder Ren Wan finished speaking, some of the elders in the great conference hall immediately nodded in agreement. After Elder Ren Qianxi heard this, he also fell silent. He couldn't refute Ren Wan's words. The current situation was indeed because he hadn't seen the current situation clearly. What they needed to consider now wasn't whether they wanted to rely on someone else's charity, but whether Emo Qingyun was willing to take them in. "Everyone, listen to me first. Based on the current situation, our Ren clan can't stay in Sun Moon City any longer. We must leave Sun Moon City as soon as possible." Looking at Ren Wan and the others who were arguing with each other, Ren Tianxiang revealed a solemn expression. He spread his hands and said to everyone, "Later, I will look for Qingyun to discuss the matter of our Ren family's relocation. It would be best if he is willing to accept our Ren family, but if he is unwilling, we can only find another place to live in seclusion." After hearing Ren Tianxiang's words, everyone immediately fell silent, and a burst of grief and sadness arose in their hearts. The feeling of leaving one's hometown always made one feel a little lonely and lost. After that, Ren Tianxiang chatted with the crowd for a while longer before he left the conference hall and went to Emo Qingyun's courtyard. A short while later, in Emo Qingyun's small courtyard. At this time, Emo Qingyun had already finished explaining everything that needed to be explained. After receiving Emo Qingyun's instructions, Lin Yu and Rong Pang rushed back to the Rong clan and prepared to lead the Rong clan to Qin Yun's palace. After all, there was no such thing as an absolute secret. The Rong clan's participation in the extermination of Ma Daiping wasn't a secret. If Huang Kunshan knew that the Rong clan was involved, he definitely wouldn't let them off. Therefore, in order to be safe, it was necessary to move the Rong clan to Qin Yun's palace. After all, Qin Yun's palace was protected by a powerful formation. Unless someone who was proficient in formations came, even a transcendent level 9 expert wouldn't be able to break it. Of course, the most important thing was that there were a large number of eye demons guarding Qin Yun's palace. Hundreds of thousands of transcendent realm eye demons were a terrifying force. Even a transcendent level 9 expert might not be able to gain an advantage against them. Young lord, I'm going to refine the flesh of Ma Daiping and the others. I'll go into seclusion in the 5 Directions Pagoda first. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had settled the matter properly, Qi Lian revealed an expression of asking for instructions and told him his thoughts. All right, I'll send you into the 5 Directions Pagoda now. Hearing Qi Lian's words, Emo Qingyun nodded and sent him into the 5 Directions Pagoda. Creak. Right now, when Emo Qingyun sent Qi Lian into the 5 Directions Pagoda, the door to his courtyard was pushed open. As the door was pushed open, Emo Qingyun saw Ren Tianxiang and a few others walking in from outside. Qingyun, I've thought it through. I've decided to move the Ren clan to Sun Moon City. After walking into Emo Qingyun's courtyard, Ren Tianxiang didn't beat around the bush and directly said to Emo Qingyun, I wonder if you have any good suggestions and arrangements for our Ren clan to move? Patriarch Ren, it's great that you've decided to move the Ren clan. After hearing Ren Tianxiang's decision, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and nodded. He said to Ren Tianxiang, since that's the case, you'll bring the Ren clan to the City of Honor later and meet up with the Rong clan. When the time comes, you'll head to Qin Yun Palace together. Emo Qingyun paused for a moment and said, the Azure Cloud Palace has a sect guarding Grand Formation and a sect guarding Divine Beast. Even if an expert at the 9th level of the Divine Ability realm attacks there, that expert would similarly be unable to gain any advantage. Even a level 9 Transcendent Power Cultivator won't be able to gain any benefits. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Ren Tianxiang's expression immediately trembled. He was once again astonished by the strength of Qin Yun Palace. From the looks of it, he had once again underestimated Emo Qingyun's strength. If that's the case, thank you very much, Qin Yun. Hearing Emo Qingyun's arrangement, Ren Tianxiang showed a grateful expression. He thanked Emo Qingyun and said, since that's the case, I'll go and inform my clansmen to pack up and prepare to move to the City of Honor. Good. Emo Qingyun nodded. The following time was spent waiting for Ren Tianxiang and the others to pack up their luggage. Several hours later, Ren Tianxiang and the others were finally ready to set off for the City of Honor. In order to avoid any accidents, Emo Qingyun arranged for Rong Rong and Rong La to follow them to the Rong clan. Uncle Ling, since the Ren clan's matter is settled, you should also return to Qin Yun Palace with Patriarch Ren and the others. Before Ren Tianxiang and the others left, Emo Qingyun said to Ling Kai, in addition, Patriarch Ren and the others also need someone to recommend them to Qin Yun Palace. You're the most suitable person to accompany them. Good. Then I'll return to Qin Yun Palace with everyone. You have to be careful on your way to Azure Mist Mountain. After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Ling Kai agreed without hesitation. He also expressed his concern for Mo Qingyun. After that, Mo Qingyun and the others had a simple conversation before parting ways. All right, since everything is arranged properly, we should set off. Seeing that everyone's matters were settled, Mo Qingyun was not willing to stay any longer. He prepared to set off for Azure Mist Mountain. On the way to Azure Mist Mountain, a very strange feeling sprouted in Mo Qingyun's heart. What's going on? Ever since I left Sun Moon City, I've been feeling uneasy. Sensing the strange feeling in his heart, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed tightly. A strong feeling of confusion rose in his heart. Chapter 855. Wen Hao City's City Lord Mansion, in a majestic hall. PFFF. The middle-aged man sitting at the front of the hall suddenly trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. City Lord, what happened to you? Seeing the middle-aged man spitting out blood, the crowd was anxious and quickly asked him about the situation. My clone has been killed. Hearing the crowd's question, the middle-aged man said in a gloomy tone and clenched his fists tightly. This middle-aged man was none other than the city lord of Wen Hao City, Huang Kunshan. What? The city lord's clone was killed? City lord, who did this? I will immediately bring people to kill his 9 generations. That's right. This matter cannot be tolerated. Otherwise, others will think that we, Wen Hao City, are easy to bully. After knowing that Huang Kunshan's clone was killed, everyone in the hall was furious. They rubbed their fists and looked like they were about to start a massacre. It was a Heaven Dipper Stage 4 brat with the Sun Moon City's Rin clan and the Honor City's Rong clan. Huang Kunshan revealed a sinister expression, and killing intent surged in his eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, I was careless this time. However, I will not let this matter rest. Sun Moon City's Rin clan? An old man in the mid-stage of the 8th stage of the Transcendent Stage asked with a puzzled expression, City Lord, aren't Vice City Lord Ma and the rest in Sun Moon City? Didn't they help you? As soon as the old man said that, the other people in the hall also looked puzzled as they looked at Huang Kunshan with puzzled expressions. Ma Daiping and the rest are dead. Seeing everyone's puzzled expression, Huang Kunshan revealed a solemn expression and said with grief and indignation. The death of Ma Daiping and Huang Xian was a huge blow to Wen Hao City. It had weakened Wen Hao City's strength by a lot. What? Vice City Lord Ma and the rest are dead? Didn't they go to deal with the Rin clan? Could it be that the Rin clan has such strength? Hearing Huang Kunshan's words, everyone was shocked. They were surprised by this outcome. It's not the Rin clan. It's a Heaven Dipper Stage 4 brat who colluded with the Rong clan in Honor City. When Huang Kunshan heard the crowd asking about the cause of death of Ma Daiping and the others, his expression turned grave. With lingering fear, he said, that brat knows an extremely strange technique that can seal his cultivation, preventing him from unleashing his full strength. There's actually such a strange method in this world. This brat must not be allowed to continue growing. City Lord, why don't we gather our men and head to Sun Moon City to exterminate them? That's right. This kid has repeatedly killed the people of my Wen Hao City. We absolutely can't let him off so easily. For a time, the crowd below once again rubbed their fists, wanting to head to Wen Hao City to kill Mo Qingyun. No, don't act rashly for now. Huang Kunshan raised his hand to stop everyone when he saw what they were doing. He said sternly, My clone has been destroyed this time, causing me to be heavily injured. I need to go into seclusion to heal for a while. We'll talk about everything after I emerge. Yes. Everyone nodded and didn't bring up the matter of seeking revenge in Sun Moon City. After that, Huang Kunshan and the rest chatted for a while before leaving the main hall. Sun Moon City, Jade Lake Immortal Pavilion, Lang Ping's small courtyard. Not long after Mo Qingyun left Sun Moon City, the news of him being the son of the Blood Refinement Demon King had reached Lang Ping's ears. Mo Qingyun is actually the son of the Blood Refinement Demon King. After hearing the rumor of Mo Qingyun's identity, Lan Linghong was shocked. A sense of lingering fear rose in his heart. In his opinion, it was fortunate that he didn't provoke Mo Qingyun back then. Otherwise, he would have ended up like Huang Wenbao. Of course, his current situation wasn't good either. He had become Lang Ping's lackey. The son of the blood refinement demon king? After hearing the rumor of Mo Qingyun's identity, Lang Ping's reaction was different from Lan Linghong's. He looked at Lan Linghong doubtfully and said in a deep voice, "Linghong, tell me everything you know about the blood refinement demon king without missing a single word." "Yes." Lan Linghong nodded and began to tell Lang Ping everything he knew about the blood refinement demon king without missing a single detail. After a short while, Lang Ping's brows furrowed even tighter after listening to Lan Linghong's story. A trace of surprise appeared on his face. It seems like Mo Qingyun isn't simple. He actually has such a background. After being slightly surprised by Mo Qingyun's identity, Lang Ping squinted his eyes and muttered to himself, "Mo Qingyun is only in his early 20s. If he is the son of the blood refinement demon king, then the blood refinement demon king shouldn't be dead. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible for his son to only be in his early 20s 1,000 years after his death. Master, if the blood refinement demon king isn't dead, his cultivation might have reached the Supreme Being realm. It's better that we don't provoke Mo Qingyun." At the thought of how terrifying the blood refinement demon king was, Lan Linghong's face was filled with fear. He hurriedly advised Lang Ping. Hearing Lan Linghong's words, Lang Ping fell silent for a moment. With a cold expression, he said to Lan Linghong, "Regarding Mo Qingyun, let's not bother about it for now. I asked you to take control of the Lan family. How's it going?" "Everything is going smoothly. However, I'm still too inexperienced after all. If I want to completely take control of the Lan family, I still need some time." Hearing Lang Ping asking about the Lan family, Lan Linghong revealed a complicated expression and truthfully reported to him. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed since Mo Qingyun left Sun Moon City. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was in the midst of cultivation, opened his eyes once again. Strange. Why is this feeling of unease getting stronger and stronger? Seeing that the feeling of unease was getting stronger and stronger, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed tightly. A strong sense of puzzlement rose in his heart. He guessed, could it be because of the Huang family in Wenhao City? When this thought arose, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious. He made a decision in his heart and thought to himself, "Looks like I have to make a trip to Wenhao City. Otherwise, this feeling of unease will continue to pester me and affect my cultivation." With this thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He stood up and walked towards the first level of the 5 directions small pagoda. At this moment, when Mo Qingyun arrived at the first level of the 5 directions small pagoda, a shocking wave of Yuan power suddenly erupted from the first level of the 5 directions small pagoda, instantly filling the entire first level of the 5 directions small pagoda. Someone's cultivation had broken through to the 8th level of the divine power. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and quickly rushed towards the source of the aura. Qi Lian's cultivation has broken through to the 8th level of the divine power. A moment later, Mo Qingyun arrived at the source of the aura, and a surprised expression appeared on his face. In this way, he had 3 experts of the 8th level of the divine power under him. He also had an additional guarantee when he went to Wenhao City. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, when Mo Qingyun arrived, Rong Ho and the rest also arrived one after another. Chapter 856. After a while, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious when he saw that everyone had finished exchanging pleasantries. "Since everyone is here, I'll announce something to everyone." Mo Qingyun glanced at them, and then his expression became solemn as he said in a low voice, I've been constantly feeling uneasy while I was cultivating recently. I feel that it might be related to One House City, so I've decided to make a trip to One House City. Uneasy? The expressions of Rong Ho and the others immediately changed when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. They revealed heaviness on their faces. This wasn't a good sign. Generally speaking, the higher one's cultivation, the stronger and more accurate one's perception of danger. With Emo Qingyun's cultivation at Heavenly Star Border Stage 4, although he couldn't be said to be able to avoid danger, he could still sense danger. As a result, the feeling he had now was not a good thing. Looking at everyone's solemn expression, Emo Qingyun pondered for a while and said, "If we head to One House City, we might have a tough battle with the Huang family. Therefore, in the following period of time, everyone must seize the time to cultivate and strive to improve their cultivation before we reach One House City." "Yes, young lord." Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, everyone no longer hesitated and went to cultivate to improve their cultivation. Seeing that everyone had gone to cultivate, Emo Qingyun said a few words to Qi Lian and returned to the second floor of the Five Directions small tower. In the following period of time, Emo Qingyun and the rest spent their time cultivating. Another half a month later. At this moment, the Creation Mountain and River painting floating above Emo Qingyun emitted a dazzling five-colored light. Not only that, but the scenery in the Creation Mountain and River painting was also rapidly changing. The plants in it sprouted, grew, and withered rapidly, forming signs of a cycle of life and death. The mountains and rivers were turbulent, the earth's crust was undulating, and the earth was showing signs of recovery. In addition, the cultivation of the natives in the Creation Mountain and River painting had broken through the limit and reached a new height. Among them, the strongest one actually broke through the limit of the Dan Palace realm and reached the Heaven Dipper realm. Most importantly, as the cultivation of these natives increased, the strange power that their bodies exuded became more powerful than before. Of course, Emo Qingyun was unaware of all this. After a short while, the scene in the Creation Mountain and River diagram finished changing, and the light on it faded away. Then, the Creation Mountain and River painting turned into a stream of light and returned to Emo Qingyun's body. It was as if everything that had just happened had never happened. Not long after the fortune landscape returned to Emo Qingyun's body, the cultivating Emo Qingyun opened his eyes with joy. The fire, wood, water, and metal origins have all reached perfection. My earth origins has also reached the third level. Soon, my 5 elements origins will reach perfection. Checking his cultivation progress, Emo Qingyun was secretly delighted. At the same time, he sensed his cultivation and said happily, "My cultivation has also reached the peak of the Heaven Dipper realm level 4. With my current cultivation speed, I can break through to the Heaven Dipper realm level 5 in 3 days. It has been a month since I left the Sun Moon City. I should be reaching the One House City soon." Considering that he was about to reach the One House City, Emo Qingyun did not plan to continue cultivating. He got up and walked to the first floor of the Five Directions small pagoda. When Emo Qingyun arrived at the first floor of the small pagoda, Qi Lian and the rest had stopped cultivating and were waiting for his instructions. When Emo Qingyun saw Qi Lian and the others waiting there, he sensed their progress during this period of time. Rong Ho was still at the late stage of the Transcendent Realm Level 8. He had not broken through to the peak of the Transcendent Realm Level 8, but he was not far from it. As for Qi Lian's cultivation, he had also reached the peak of the early stage of the Transcendent Realm Level 8 like Rong Bing. As for Rong and the rest, their cultivation had also improved. However, they were not far from the Transcendent Realm Level 8. Other than that, what surprised Emo Qingyun was that Feng Moyin's cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds to the mid-stage of the Transcendent Realm Level 6 with the help of the Myriad Manifestation Origin Pill. This speed was really fast. "Alright, let's go out." After sensing everyone's cultivation, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and directly moved everyone out of the 5 directions small pagoda. Savage beast, how far are we from the one house city? After coming out of the 5 directions small pagoda, Mo Qingyun stood on Savage Beast's back and asked for their current location. Young lord, we are currently in the territory of the Jiu Mountain. With our current speed, we will reach the one house city in half a day. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Savage Beast truthfully reported their current location to Mo Qingyun. Yes. Hearing Savage Beast's answer, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of anticipation and said with a faint smile, "There is still half a day before we can get rid of the hidden danger of the Huang family. At that time, I can go to the Azure Mist Mountain wholeheartedly." Compared to Mo Qingyun's mood, Rong Ho and the rest were undoubtedly very excited. In the eyes of Rong Ho and the rest, they had never thought that there would be a day when they could compete with the one house city. This was something they had never dared to think about in the past, but now it was right in front of their eyes. How could they not be excited? As for Qilian, he thought that after killing Huang Kunshan and the rest, he would refine the blood essence in their bodies. Then, his cultivation would be able to take another step forward. Subsequently, everyone carried different thoughts as they hurried towards One House City. Half a day later, a tall and majestic city appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and the rest. As they approached the city, above the tall city walls, 3 simple and unadorned words were imprinted into their eyes. The One House City was the destination of Mo Qingyun and the rest. Let's go in. When they arrived above the One House City, Mo Qingyun and the rest did not restrain themselves and directly flew into the city. You can't fly in the One House City. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the rest rush into the city, the guards of the One House City were instantly enraged and scolded Mo Qingyun and the rest. However, before they could finish their words, they were unable to say anything else. The cultivation of these people in front of them were all above the 6th level of the divine power realm. This was not something they could stop. After arriving in the One House City, Mo Qingyun casually found a person and asked where the city lord's mansion was. He then led Qilian and the rest and rushed over. The city lord's mansion of the One House City was very easy to find. It was located at the center of the One House City. It was a tall and majestic building with more than 10 floors. Flying is prohibited in the One House City. Why aren't you guys coming down? Looking at Mo Qingyun and the rest in the air, the city lord's mansion's guard revealed a cold expression and scolded them. Chapter 857. Who's making a ruckus here? As Mo Qingyun's words fell, an angry voice came from the city lord's manor. Following that, a powerful aura exploded from the city lord's manor and descended on Mo Qingyun. These people's cultivation had all reached level 6 of the divine power realm and above. They should be the backbone of One House City. However, Mo Qingyun's expression didn't change much at the appearance of these people. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was sizing up the other party was sizing them up too. 3 level 8 of the divine power realm, 4 level 7 of the divine power realm, and more than 10 level 6 of the divine power realm. Sensing the cultivation of Qilian and the others, everyone from the One House City's city lord's mansion revealed shocked expressions. The strength of Qilian and the rest shocked them. Their combat strength couldn't be underestimated. After Ma Daiping and Huang Xian were killed, there were only 4 people left in One House City who were at level 8 of the transcendent powers. In addition, Huang Kunshan was in seclusion to recuperate because his image clone was killed. As a result, there were only 3 level 8 of the divine power realm left in One House City. In this case, it was self-evident that it would be difficult for them to take down Qilian and the rest. After weighing the pros and cons, the people from One House City didn't act rashly. Everyone, may I know why you're here in One House City? Soon, the strongest person in One House City, Huang Shu, asked Rong Ho with a faint smile. In his opinion, Rong Ho's cultivation was the highest among Mo Qingyun and the rest. He should be the decision-maker among Mo Qingyun and the rest. However, Rong Ho's next move made him drop his jaw. After hearing this, Rong Ho showed a respectful expression and turned to look at Mo Qingyun beside him. Obviously, he was asking for Mo Qingyun's opinion and letting Mo Qingyun make the decision. Originally, with Mo Qingyun's Heaven Dipper Stage 4 cultivation, he would be completely ignored among the Transcendent Realm experts. However, because of Rong Ho's actions, Mo Qingyun became particularly conspicuous and immediately attracted the attention of Huang Shu and the others. So it turned out that a junior with a cultivation base at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper was the one speaking to Rong Ho and the others. This was simply out of their expectations. Mo Qingyun did not pay any attention to the reactions of Wen Hao Cheng and the rest. He indifferently swept his gaze across the surroundings and said, "We have some personal grudges with Wen Hao Cheng's Huang family. If you do not wish to be implicated, you should leave immediately if you are not a member of the Huang family." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, the surrounding onlookers immediately revealed shocked expressions. Mo Qingyun and the others were actually here to invade the Huang family. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of Huang Shu and the others, who originally wanted to keep the peace, immediately turned gloomy. A tree needs its bark and a man needs his face. Since Mo Qingyun provoked them like this, they could no longer remain indifferent. At the same time, Huang Shu and the others couldn't help but recall Huang Kunshan's words. The person who killed Huang Kunshan's image clone was a Heaven Dipper Stage 4 brat. From the looks of it, this Heaven Dipper Stage 4 brat was undoubtedly the one in front of them. A Heaven Dipper Stage 4 brat killed his image clone, Ma Daiping, and the others. Humph. So you are the brat who destroyed the City Lord's image clone and killed Vice City Lord Ma and the others. You are indeed incomparably arrogant. After knowing Mo Qingyun's identity, Huang Shu and the others revealed a furious expression and said a sinister sentence. From their point of view, now that they knew Mo Qingyun's identity, there was no need for them to tolerate him any longer. In any case, the relationship between both parties had already reached the point where only one side would be able to live. There was no need for them to negotiate. Celestial Heaven Trapping Net. After shouting at the surrounding onlookers to retreat, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything more to Huang Shu and the others. He immediately took out the Celestial Heaven Trapping Net. The moment the Celestial Heaven Trapping Net was taken out, it expanded rapidly and enveloped Huang Shu and the others. It's the Celestial Heaven Trapping Net. They really killed Vice City Lord Ma. Seeing Mo Qingyun take out the Celestial Heaven Trapping Net, Huang Shu and the others immediately recognized it. Their expressions turned sinister. Their Wen Hao City's treasure was actually used by Mo Qingyun to deal with them. This was too humiliating. Rong Ho, Rong. Do it. Mo Qingyun chose to ignore Huang Shu and the others' reactions. He immediately ordered Qi Lian and the others. After receiving Mo Qingyun's order, Qi Lian and the others no longer hesitated and attacked Huang Shu and the others. "Brat, you're going too far." At this moment, when Mo Qingyun and the others attacked, an angry voice came from the City Lord's mansion. Following this angry voice, Mo Qingyun saw a familiar figure rapidly approaching the battlefield. The person who came was the City Lord of Wen Hao City, Huang Kunshan. "You're finally willing to come out?" Seeing that Huang Kunshan had finally appeared, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile. His body emitted a chilling aura. Mo Qingyun's thoughts were very simple. Whether or not it was because of Huang Kunshan that caused him to feel uneasy recently, Huang Kunshan was still a threat to him. Huang Kunshan was a hidden danger even if he was left alive. It was a good thing to eliminate him as soon as possible. An enemy with a cultivation base of level 8 of the Divine Power Realm was still a very dangerous thing to do. Close to Mo Qingyun, there were many friends and relatives with low cultivation bases. A level 8 of the divine power realm was too dangerous for them. Sealed door. Seeing that Huang Kunshan had appeared, Mo Qingyun didn't say much to him and directly used the sealed door on him. A small door of light condensed in Mo Qingyun's hand and shot towards Huang Kunshan at an extremely fast speed. It's this light door again. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack, Huang Kunshan's expression immediately twitched and his eyes revealed a strong sense of fear. The power of the sealed door was still fresh in his memory. It lingered in his heart like a nightmare. However, the speed of the sealed door was too fast. Although Huang Kunshan wanted to dodge, it was still useless. After being hit by the sealed door, the aura on Huang Kunshan's body began to weaken rapidly. After realizing this, Huang Kunshan looked as if he had seen a ghost. Intense fear appeared on his face. Then, Huang Kunshan no longer hesitated and prepared to escape from this place. He no longer cared about the life and death of Huang Shu and the others. Previously, his image clone had been struck by this divine ability, which caused his cultivation to drop and he was killed. Now, he didn't want to repeat the same mistake. It was precisely because he was afraid of the power of the sealed door that Huang Kunshan didn't immediately take revenge on Mo Qingyun. Instead, he told Huang Shu and the others to take their time. In his heart, he thought that if he couldn't find a way to break the sealed door, it would be better not to take revenge on Mo Qingyun. However, what he didn't expect was that instead of taking revenge on Mo Qingyun would take the initiative to come knocking on his door. This sudden turn of events caught him off guard. Helpless, he could only brace himself and fight. Qi Lian, stop Huang Kunshan. Don't let him escape. Chapter 858. Although Rong Ho's cultivation was higher than Qi Lian's, in terms of battle prowess, Rong Ho was still inferior to Qi Lian. After all, Qi Lian's comprehension of will and battle experience in his previous life were far from what Rong Ho could compare to. One must know that Qi Lian, at his peak in his previous life, was able to survive against a supreme being expert. Moreover, the reason why Mo Qingyun allowed Qi Lian to take action was because of the God-binding ring in his hands. With the help of the God-binding ring, it wasn't difficult for Qi Lian to stop Huang Kunshan. Yes, young lord. After receiving Mo Qingyun's order, Qi Lian didn't hesitate. His body turned into a streak of blood-red light as he chased after Huang Kunshan. Huang Kunshan was only at the peak of the 7th level of the Transcendent Realm. Adding to the fact that his blood flow was not smooth, how could his speed compare to Qi Lian's? In a few blinks of an eye, Qi Lian caught up to Huang Kunshan, who was preparing to flee. God-binding ring. After Qi Lian caught up to Huang Kunshan, he took out the God-binding ring and attacked Huang Kunshan without hesitation. The God-binding ring shone with a golden radiance, turning into a streak of golden light that enveloped Huang Kunshan. Bang bang bang. Trapped within the God-binding ring, Huang Kunshan's expression changed as he frantically attacked the God-binding ring. The God-binding ring was a treasure from the desolate continent. Even a supreme being expert couldn't break it, let alone someone like him. In this way, Huang Kunshan's attacks on the God-binding ring were rendered useless. Bloodthirsty demonic art, heavenly demon blood palm. Qi Lian didn't hold back against Huang Kunshan, who was trapped within the God-binding ring. He directly attacked with his palm. A shocking amount of blood and elemental energy rapidly gathered in the air, emitting a dazzling scarlet light. Soon, a giant blood-red palm formed in the air, exuding a soul-stirring demonic aura. The moment the blood-red palm formed, it smashed towards Huang Kunshan, who was trapped within the God-binding ring. Everywhere it passed, space trembled and heaven and earth changed colors. Bang. As the blood-red palm approached, Qi Lian removed the God-binding ring. Without the God-binding ring, Huang Kunshan was directly hit by the blood-red palm. Huang Kunshan was blasted down from the sky after being hit by the huge blood-red palm. He spat out a mouthful of blood as he flew to the ground. Seeing this, Qi Lian followed closely and continued to attack Huang Kunshan. While Qi Lian was dealing with Huang Kunshan, Mo Qingyun did not stay idle either. He continuously cast the sealed gate on Huang Shu and the rest. After all, Huang Shu and the others were not weak. With the cultivation of Rong Ho and the others, it was still very difficult to deal with them. In order to prevent Rong Ho and the others from getting hurt, it was necessary to use the sealed door on Huang Shu. After being attacked by the sealed gate, Huang Shu and the others, who were originally in an advantageous position, immediately fell into a passive state. There was nothing he could do about it. When experts exchanged blows, even the slightest mistake could lead to the outcome of the battle. Not to mention, his cultivation had dropped by an entire realm. What's going on? Why did my cultivation drop? It's that brat. This is the strange method that the city lord mentioned. Let's deal with that brat first. Only by killing him will I have a chance to live. That's right. Let's break the celestial trapping net with all our might and get rid of that brat first. After their cultivation was affected by the sealed gate, Huang Shu and the others immediately realized that something was wrong. They looked at Mo Qingyun gloomily. Then, Huang Shu and the others attacked the celestial trapping net in a frenzy, wanting to kill Mo Qingyun as soon as possible. If you want to deal with the young lord, you'll have to go through us first. Seeing Huang Shu and the others' intentions, Rong Ho and the others naturally disagreed and immediately stopped them. As Rong Ho and the others interfered, Huang Shu and the others' actions were immediately interrupted. Young lord, Huang Kunshan has been taken care of. Soon, Qi Lian, who went to kill Huang Kunshan, returned to Mo Qingyun's side. After hearing Qi Lian's report, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and said to him, "Go and help Rong Ho and the others. Quickly kill Huang Kunshan and the others." Yes. Qi Lian moved and quickly arrived in front of the celestial trapping net. He entered through the gap that Mo Qingyun had opened. With the addition of Qi Lian, Huang Shu and the others' final struggle was quickly defeated. One by one, they died tragically in Qi Lian's hands. 15 minutes later, everyone from Wen Hao City's Huang family was killed by Qi Lian and the others. After killing Huang Kunshan and the others, Rong Ho and the others did not stay idle. They immediately entered the Wen Hao City's city lord mansion. Wen Hao City was one of the 10 great sacred cities. Its collection would definitely be incomparably rich. They could not let it go easily. Several hours later, Rong Ho and the others returned with smiles on their faces. It seemed that the harvest should be very shocking. Young lord, this is the Huang family's collection. Arriving in front of Mo Qingyun, Rong Ho revealed a respectful expression and handed a cosmos sack to Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun raised his hand and received the cosmos sack. He leaped onto Savage Beast's back and said to Qi Lian and the others, "Since the Huang family in Wen Hao City has been dealt with, let's not stay any longer. Let's set off for Azure Mist Mountain. Savage Beast, let's continue on our way." After instructing everyone, Mo Qingyun ordered Savage Beast to carry him to Azure Mist Mountain. Seeing Savage Beast carrying Mo Qingyun forward, Qi Lian and the others did not hesitate and immediately followed closely. On the way to Azure Mist Mountain. It will take about 5 days to reach Azure Mist Mountain from Wen Hao City. I can take this opportunity to improve my strength. After calculating the time to reach Azure Mist Mountain, Mo Qingyun did not want to delay any longer. His body moved and entered the 5 directions small pagoda. When Mo Qingyun entered the 5 directions small pagoda, Qi Lian and the others were also sent into the 5 directions small pagoda to continue their cultivation. Arriving at the 2nd floor of the 5 directions small pagoda, Mo Qingyun did not immediately start cultivating. He wanted to first check the Huang family's collection. After checking, even with Mo Qingyun's state of mind, he was still shocked by the Huang family's collection. The richness of the Huang family's collection had greatly exceeded his expectations. The richness of the Huang family's collection was comparable to 1,000th of the heavenly pool Sacred Mountain. After a brief moment of surprise, Emo Qingyun calmed down and began to check and categorize these items. Some ordinary items and elemental holy stones were directly put into a cosmos sack by Emo Qingyun. He was going to hand them over to Ling Kai to deal with in the future. Some alchemy ingredients and items for refining arrays were put away by Emo Qingyun in case he needed them in the future. This is the wind vortex crystal and the desert origin crystal. Looking at the green crystal and the yellow crystal, Emo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised. He said excitedly, "With the help of these two items, my wind origin and earth origin can reach the perfection stage faster. Especially the earth origin. Within 3 months it will definitely reach the perfection stage." Then, Emo Qingyun carefully put away the two items and continued to check the other items. However, among the following items there was nothing too rare or precious. Chapter 859. After checking the Huang family's spoils of war, Emo Qingyun took out the desert origin crystal rock and used it to raise his earth origin level. After Emo Qingyun started cultivating, the creation mountain and river diagram flew out of his body and hovered above him, radiating light in all directions. As his earth origin level increased, the changes in the mountains and rivers in the creation mountain and river diagram became more and more intense. Every time the Earth's crust moved, the space within the creation mountain and river diagram would become even larger. At this moment, if someone saw this, they would definitely feel that the landscape in the creation landscape was growing. That's right, it was growing. It was like a baby growing up bit by bit. While the scenery in the creation mountain and river painting kept changing and expanding, the cultivation levels of the natives in it also increased rapidly. As the cultivation of the natives increased, the strange power produced in their bodies also increased and became stronger. As soon as the strange power appeared, it flew out from the creation landscape and supported Emo Qingyun. With the support of the strange power, Emo Qingyun's body shone with a golden light, giving off a solemn and dignified feeling. Apart from that, Emo Qingyun's physique also underwent a subtle change under the influence of the power. The appearance of the change immediately attracted Emo Qingyun's attention, waking him up from his cultivation. However, the creation landscape did not return to Emo Qingyun's body this time. Instead, it continued to hover above him. The creation landscape is growing? Seeing the scene in the creation mountain and river diagram, Emo Qingyun immediately revealed a look of surprise. He was shocked by this scene. However, very quickly, the shock on his face became even more intense as he exclaimed, "This strange energy really does come from the creation mountain and river painting." At this moment, Emo Qingyun finally received a definite answer to his previous guess. Not only that, but Emo Qingyun's sense of familiarity with this power was also becoming stronger and stronger. Where have I seen this strange power before? Discovering that he was becoming more and more familiar with the power, Emo Qingyun quickly tried to recall where he had seen it before. It's this. After thinking hard, Emo Qingyun immediately became shocked. He remembered where he had seen this power before. Afterwards, a 3-headed, 6-armed figure appeared in Emo Qingyun's hand. It held a red tasseled spear, had a universe ring around its neck, and had a heaven sash around its waist. This power is the same as the power in the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman. Emo Qingyun became excited as he looked at the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman in his hand. He made a bold guess. If I channel this power into the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman, I wonder if I can activate it again. As soon as this thought sprouted in his mind, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately poured this power into the Divine Lotus General's true body inviting God talisman. With the infusion of this strange energy, The Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman gradually glowed, and its aura became even stronger. "It's effective!" Emo Qingyun immediately rejoiced when he saw the changes in the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman. He became extremely excited. If he could make the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman recover its power, he would have another powerful trump card in his hand. He would no longer be powerless against expert. 15 minutes later, all the power stored in Emo Qingyun's body had been channeled into the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman. However, the result disappointed Emo Qingyun. Activating the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman required far too much power. It was not something he could satisfy right now. Based on the current situation, I'll need to accumulate power for several years at the very least if I want to activate the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman again. Emo Qingyun could not help but sigh inside when he received this result. A sliver of disappointment appeared on his face. A few years was simply too long for him. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, if he waited for several years, his cultivation might have broken through to Exalt. At that time, the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman might not be so useful to him anymore. After a brief moment of disappointment, Emo Qingyun stopped thinking about it. After sorting out his thoughts, he said, "Forget it. Let's not think about it anymore. No matter what, this is an unexpected gain. The most important thing right now is to increase my cultivation." After sorting out his emotions, Emo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation again. He continued to refine the desert origin crystal. Time passed bit by bit as Emo Qingyun cultivated. Several days later, the creation mountain and river diagram above Emo Qingyun suddenly shone brightly. A 5-colored ball of light soared into the sky, forming a strange cloud. After the strange cloud formed, wind and clouds gathered, wildly devouring the yuan qi of the world. Afterwards, the 5-colored cloud grew larger and larger. In the end, a moist rain fell. After the moist rain fell, the cultivation of the natives in the creation mountain and river diagram skyrocketed once again. After a few hours, the moist rain in the creation mountain and river diagram stopped. Everything in the creation mountain and river diagram returned to normal. However, if one observed carefully, they could clearly see that there was more spiritual energy in the creation mountain and river diagram. If the air in the creation mountain and river diagram was compared to the exhaust of a car, it was now like the forest after the rain. It was fresh and soothing. Although the change wasn't obvious, it meant that the world in the creation mountain and river diagram had become more complete. After all of this was done, the creation mountain and river diagram shone brightly and returned to Emo Qingyun's body. Complete Earth origin. After the creation mountain and river diagram returned to Emo Qingyun's body, Emo Qingyun opened his eyes with joy. He exited his cultivation and thought to himself, "I originally thought that it would take 3 months to complete the Earth origin. I didn't expect it to only take 1 month with the help of the desert origin crystal. My cultivation has also broken through to the Heaven Star Border Stage 5. When Emo Qingyun said those pleasantly surprised words, he sensed his own cultivation base, and the joy on his face grew even stronger. Unknowingly, his cultivation had broken through from the Heaven Star Border Stage 4 to the Heaven Star Border Stage 5. Such an increase once again proved the power of the 5 elements' spiritual body. Even if he didn't purposely raise his cultivation, he could still break through on his own. If this news were to spread, countless people would be envious and jealous. Since the Earth origin is complete and my cultivation has broken through, it's time to raise my martial arts realm. After pondering for a while, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately began to raise his martial arts level. With my cultivation at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper Realm, I should be able to cultivate the 3rd form of the Fiend Fist Shattering Star River. Chapter 860. The Middle Finger of Destruction was the third move of the legacy martial art, Demon Fist shattering the Milky Way. It was undoubtedly more difficult to cultivate than the previous two moves. Of course, while it was more difficult to cultivate, it was also more powerful than the previous two moves. After a day of cultivation, Mo Qingyun finally got a feel for the Middle Finger of Destruction in the third move of Demon Fist shattering the Milky Way. Although he only got a feel for it, it was still a great improvement. It only took him a day to get a feel for the legacy martial art, Demon Fist shattering the Milky Way. If this were to spread out, it would probably shock many people. Not only that, but Mo Qingyun also had a rough understanding of the power of the middle point killing finger after he had figured out the way to use it. In addition to being more domineering and powerful than the previous two moves, the Middle Finger of Destruction had an even more powerful ability, which was to hit a bull through a mountain. It could penetrate the enemy's protective vital energy and bombard the enemy's internal organs, directly causing serious internal injuries. After knowing the power of the Middle Finger of Destruction, Mo Qingyun's anticipation for it naturally became even more intense. Therefore, in the following days, Mo Qingyun patiently cultivated. Again, and again. After every practice, Mo Qingyun would have a new understanding. Although the speed of improvement was not fast, Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry. He steadily improved in an orderly manner. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, finally, on the 5th day. Middle Finger of Destruction Beginner. Seeing that he had finally reached the beginner level of the Middle Finger of Destruction, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with surprise. In this way, he had grasped the beginner level of the Middle Finger of Destruction and could use it to fight against enemies. Of course, Mo Qingyun was not satisfied with just that. He continued to practice the Middle Finger of Destruction. 10 days later, under Mo Qingyun's continuous efforts, the Middle Finger of Destruction finally reached the beginner level. A month later, the Middle Finger of Destruction reached the advanced level and truly displayed the power of the Middle Finger of Destruction. Break for me. On the second floor of the 5 Directions small tower, Mo Qingyun pointed at several thick walls in front of him. Suddenly, a surge of yuan power crazily gathered at Mo Qingyun's fingertip, emitting a dazzling golden light. As soon as the golden light appeared, it turned into a ray of light and bombarded the thick walls. Bang bang bang, a loud noise came from the thick walls. Then, Mo Qingyun saw holes in the thick walls as if they were pierced through by arrows. The middle finger of destruction, the thick wall, the middle finger, the whole area. In other words, under Mo Qingyun's finger, the further away one was, the greater the impact would be. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He was pleasantly surprised and said, "Under normal circumstances, when some martial arts are blocked, its power will be weakened little by little. I didn't expect that the more the middle finger of destruction is blocked, the greater its power will be. This martial art is too powerful." After a short moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun began to organize his emotions and started to think. Now that the middle finger of destruction has been cultivated to the advanced level, if I continue to cultivate it, it will be difficult to reach new heights in a short time. I can start to cultivate other martial arts. After thinking about it, Mo Qingyun had a plan in his heart. He said with anticipation, "Now that my cultivation has reached the Heaven Dipper Stage 5, I should be able to cultivate the second style of the 5 Directions Heaven Breaking Technique. I wonder how the second style of the 5 Directions Heaven Breaking Technique will be like?" As soon as this thought appeared, Mo Qingyun began to sense the 5 Directions Heaven Breaking Technique in his mind. However, what disappointed Mo Qingyun was that with his current cultivation, he was unable to break through the seal on the 5 Directions Heaven Breaking Technique. It seems that if I want to cultivate the second style of the 5 Directions Heaven Breaking Technique, I will have to wait until I reach the transcendent realm. With such a result, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it. He was prepared to wait until his cultivation was higher before cultivating it. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, the higher the cultivation requirement of the 5 directions heaven-breaking technique, the more powerful it would be. Now that my cultivation, comprehension of origin energy, and martial arts have all improved, I won't be able to improve them in a short time. Thinking back to his cultivation gains this time, Emo Qingyun was not prepared to continue cultivating. He said in a deep voice, "Since that's the case, let's go out for a walk and see if we have reached Azure Mist Mountain." Then, Emo Qingyun did not stay in the 5 directions small pagoda. With a flash, he appeared on Savage Beast's back. "Savage Beast, how much longer until we reach Azure Mist Mountain?" After arriving on Savage Beast's back, Emo Qingyun looked around and asked about his current location. "Young Lord, according to the description on the map, we will reach Azure Mist City after crossing this mountain peak. Azure Mist Mountain will be 15 kilometers west of Azure Mist City." After hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Savage Beast immediately reported his current location and the distance to Azure Mist Mountain. After knowing his location, Emo Qingyun nodded indifferently and said to Savage Beast, "Don't go to Azure Mist Mountain first. Let's go to Azure Mist City to recuperate first, then set off for Azure Mist Mountain." "Yes." Savage Beast nodded and continued to carry Emo Qingyun forward. After a few hours, Savage Beast carried Emo Qingyun to Azure Mist City. The prosperity of Azure Mist City had greatly exceeded Emo Qingyun's expectations. It was not something that Honor City or Sun Moon City could compare to. Perhaps even Wenhao City, one of the 10 great holy cities, could not compare to Azure Mist City. Looking at the city walls, which were hundreds of meters tall and made entirely out of black steel adamantine, as well as the pavilions, terraces, and pavilions that reached into the clouds. Even though Emo Qingyun was a supreme being expert in his previous life, he could not help but feel shocked. This Azure Mist City seemed to be a little too powerful. "Young Lord, you may not know this, but behind Azure Mist City, there is a hidden clan that has been passed down for millions of years. Their background is unfathomable." When he saw the shock on Emo Qingyun's face, Rong Ho's expression turned solemn. He explained the situation of Kanglan Mountain to Emo Qingyun and said, "Although Kanglan City is not among the 10 great sacred cities, I feel that Kanglan City's strength is perhaps above the 10 great sacred cities. So it's a hidden clan. No wonder." After hearing Rong Ho's words, Emo Qingyun felt relieved and a look of understanding appeared on his face. He had seen many hidden clans in his previous life. These clans rarely showed themselves in public, but their strength was extremely shocking. Perhaps there were no supreme being experts in their clans, but there might be a few who were invincible below the supreme being realm. "Let's go in." After taking a quick look at Azure Mist City, Emo Qingyun instructed everyone and rode Savage Beast into Azure Mist City. After Emo Qingyun entered Azure Mist City, he realized that there was an endless stream of people in Azure Mist City. Moreover, those who came to Azure Mist City were all experts. After seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun could not help but raise his opinion of Azure Mist City's overall strength. Chapter 861. When Emo Qingyun walked into the restaurant, some of the people on the streets started to point at him. "This young man actually dares to enter the Wild Wave restaurant. He's got guts. There's no need to look. He must be an outsider. He'll probably come out crying later. I hope he can still walk out." The last time, a young master from a second-rate family in the 10 sacred cities had his legs broken and was thrown out. "Forget it, let's go quickly. Otherwise, the Wild Wave restaurant will hold a grudge against us." In an instant, some of the people who knew about the Wild Wave restaurant looked at Emo Qingyun with sympathy. Seeing the actions of the people on the streets, Emo Qingyun furrowed his brows and a trace of doubt rose in his heart. Could it be that this Wild Wave restaurant wasn't simple? "Sir, please come in. May I know if you're staying or having a meal?" Seeing that Emo Chinyun had arrived at the entrance of the restaurant, a waiter of the restaurant immediately welcomed him with a smile. "Let's order some food and wine first. Get me a few rooms later." Seeing that the waiter had come over, Emo Chinyun didn't think too much about it and told him his request. "Sir, our restaurant is different from other restaurants. The meat dishes are all killed on the spot. You can kill whatever you like. It's guaranteed to be fresh." After hearing Emo Chinyun's words, the waiter's expression changed slightly and revealed a crafty look as he explained to Emo Chinyun. "Oh, there's such a rule?" Hearing the waiter's words, Emo Chinyun revealed a curious expression and smiled faintly. "This is the first time I've seen such a way of ordering food. Bring me over to take a look." "Sir, this is a Heavenly Star Realm green-winged phoenix crane. It can be steamed and boiled. This is a Pill Palace Realm Iceflame Sparrow. Its flesh and blood have both the taste of ice and fire. It can be made." The waiter explained the origins of the demonic beasts and the dishes that could be made to Emo Chinyun in detail. "I couldn't tell that your restaurant is quite particular about the dishes." After listening to the waiter's explanation, the curious look on Emo Chinyun's face immediately became even more intense. "Sir, you may not know, but the birds and beasts in our restaurant are all fed with various medicinal herbs. Not only do they taste good, but they can also increase one's chi and blood after consumption." The waiter boasted again, exaggerating the effects of the Violent Wave restaurant's dishes as if they were as powerful as elixirs. Although the waiter's words were somewhat boastful, Emo Chinyun had to admit that the waiter's words had piqued his curiosity. "Since that's the case, this azure-winged phoenix crane, iceflame sparrow, give me one of each." After pondering for a while, Emo Chinyun ordered 3 meat dishes and 5 vegetable dishes. Then, he walked to an empty table and sat down. Raging Waves restaurant was very efficient. Not long after Emo Chinyun sat down, several dishes were served. At a glance, all of them looked and smelled good, giving people a desire to have a taste. At this moment, just as Emo Chinyun was about to taste the dishes, a group of people walked into the restaurant. The leader of this group of people was a young man who looked to be in his early 20s. He was hugging a scantily clad woman. This young man's cultivation wasn't high. He was only in the early Heaven Star Border Stage 1. The few followers behind him were all in the early Transcendent Realm. For a Heaven Star Border Stage 1 cultivator to be able to have Transcendent Realm experts as his followers, it seemed like he had some status. Emo Chinyun glanced at the few of them and ignored them. He silently ate his food and wine. "This place is not bad. It's quite peaceful." The young man walked into the restaurant and scanned the interior of the restaurant with satisfaction. He then shouted to the waiter, "Waiter, give me a portion of your best wine and dishes. Don't worry that I don't have money. As long as the wine and dishes are good enough, money is not a problem." Hearing the young man's words, the waiter immediately smiled and jogged over to the young man. "Young master, please listen to me. Here's how we order." Following that, the waiter introduced the Raging Waves restaurant's ordering method to the young man. "Your restaurant's ordering method is quite unique. If that's the case, why don't you give me a good introduction?" Upon hearing the waiter's explanation, the young man revealed a surprised expression. He smiled faintly and said, "Bring this young master to order. As long as the wine and dishes in your restaurant can satisfy this young master will definitely reward you later." "Thank you, young master." Hearing the young man's words, the waiter immediately expressed his gratitude. He made a gesture of invitation and said, "Young master, please follow me." When they arrived in front of the cages where the birds and beasts were kept, the waiter introduced them to the young man one by one. This, and that, order them all for me." Following that, under the waiter's guidance, the young man ordered dozens of dishes. It was as if he had too much money to spend. After ordering, the young man hugged the enchanting woman in his arms and slowly walked over to Emo Chinyun with his entourage. "Brat, I don't like to have people next to me when I'm eating. Leave this place immediately. I'll take care of your table. When he arrived in front of Emo Qingyun's table, the young man revealed an arrogant expression. He raised his hand and knocked on the corner of Emo Qingyun's table. Looking at his appearance, it was needless to say how arrogant and infuriating he was. Seeing the young man's actions, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly. A trace of displeasure appeared on his face. This young man's arrogance had nothing to do with him. However, if he intended to suppress Emo Qingyun in order to support him, this was not something Emo Qingyun could accept. What if I say no? Hearing the young man's words, Emo Qingyun slowly put down his wine cup and looked at them indifferently. Brat, I advise you to know your place and leave. Otherwise, don't blame our Golden Rock young master for being rude. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the enchanting woman frowned and said unhappily. She leaned on the young man and said softly, Our Golden Rock young master's elder brother is Jin Buhuan, the 987th genius on the Divine Prefecture Outstanding Heroes list. Divine Prefecture Outstanding Heroes list? Hearing this, Emo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. A faint smile appeared on his face. Following that, a trace of memories surfaced in Emo Qingyun's mind. Thinking back to his previous life, when he was still in the Heaven Star Border Realm and Transcendent Realm, he had also competed for these rankings. The Divine Prefecture Outstanding Heroes list had a total of 1,000 rankings. Only geniuses below the age of 50 who had reached the Heaven Star Border Realm were accepted. Although this young man's elder brother, Jin Buhuan, was only ranked 987th on the Divine Prefecture Outstanding Heroes list, it was enough to prove that he was talented. One had to know that there were at least tens of millions of Heaven Star Border Realm martial artists in the entire Dongxing Divine Realm. It was not an easy task to enter the top 1,000 among tens of millions of people. Of course, this was not enough to scare Emo Qingyun away. What if I say I'm not leaving? Chapter 862. Kid, you better know what's good for you. Seeing that Emo Qingyun wasn't willing to cooperate, Golden Rock's expression turned cold and gloomy. With that, Golden Rock turned to look at the few people beside him and nodded. Seeing Golden Rock's action, the few followers of God Power immediately understood Golden Rock's meaning. Following that, they walked forward and surrounded Emo Qingyun. Kid, are you going to scram yourself, or should I get them to throw you out? When the Golden Rock saw his followers surrounding Emo Qingyun, a smug, cold smile appeared on his face. I don't want to choose either. I choose the third option. All of you, scram. Emo Qingyun still had a faint smile on his face as he replied calmly and nodded at Savage Beast. Roar. After receiving Emo Qingyun's nod, Savage Beast, who was lying beside Emo Qingyun, casually raised its paw. The moment Savage Beast raised its paw, it exploded with a terrifying aura that enveloped Golden Rock's followers. Under this aura, Golden Rock's followers seemed to have been hit by a body-freezing spell. They stood on the spot in shock, not moving at all. Bang, 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 a series of muffled sounds rang out. Golden Rock's followers were blasted out of the restaurant by Savage Beast's paw. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. God Power Level 6. Golden Rock's expression twitched when he saw Savage Beast attack. His eyes were filled with fear and shock. He really didn't expect that an ordinary-looking youth would actually have a mount with a cultivation base of level 6 of the God tier. Immediately after, the Golden Rock looked at Emo Qingyun with a strong sense of fear in his eyes. Now that his followers were half dead after being slapped by Savage Beast, how could he fight against Emo Qingyun? What made Golden Rock feel slightly relieved was that Savage Beast didn't continue attacking him after sending his followers flying. What do you want? When he saw Emo Qingyun looking at him, the Golden Rock's body trembled. He asked in a flustered tone, I'm warning you. I am the son of Guilt City's City Lord. If you dare to do anything to me, My father will not let you off. Is the son of the city lord of Guilt City that amazing? Emo Chinyan chose to ignore the Golden Rock's threat. He said impatiently, crawl out of here. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave. As Emo Chinyan's words fell, the savage beast slowly stood up and stared coldly at the Golden Rock. I'll climb, I'll climb. Seeing the savage beast's bloodthirsty gaze, the Golden Rock immediately trembled and crawled out like a dog. A short while later, when Jean Ping reached the entrance of the hotel, he stood up and gloomily stared at Emo Chinyan. He said, Brat, I will make you pay back the humiliation you brought me tenfold later. With that, the Golden Rock did not stay any longer. He immediately prepared to rush out of the hotel and leave. Sir, please hold on. Just as the Golden Rock was about to leave, the waiter's expression turned cold. He raised his hand and blocked the Golden Rock's path. Scram! Seeing that his path was blocked by the waiter, the Golden Rock's expression darkened. He raised his hand and threw a punch at the waiter. What kind of joke was this? He was running for his life. How dare a waiter come and ruin his plan? How could he tolerate this? However, to the Golden Rock's surprise, when his palm landed on the waiter, it was as if he had hit an iron wall. Not only did it not cause any harm to the waiter, on the contrary, his arm was numb from the impact. After realizing this, the Golden Rock's face immediately turned pale. His expression was filled with panic. Although he was a hedonistic young master, he was still a Heaven Star Border Stage 2 cultivator. For a waiter to be unharmed after taking a hit from him while being unprepared, he had to be at least in the Transcendent Realm. A Transcendent Realm waiter, this was too shocking. One had to know that in the Golden Rock's family, even if a Transcendent Realm powerhouse could not become an elder, he would definitely be a deacon. As such, this Transcendent Realm waiter seemed a little out of the ordinary. A Transcendent Realm waiter? This Wild Billows Hotel is not simple. Sensing the waiter's aura, Emo Chinyan frowned slightly. He was a little surprised by the waiter's cultivation. Sir, please give me the wine and dishes before you leave. After the waiter stopped the Golden Rock, a cold expression appeared on his face as he uttered some words of displeasure. The Golden Rock was immediately enraged when he heard the waiter's words. He clenched his fists tightly. He, the Golden Rock, was the son of a first-rate family's patriarch. Now, he was being bullied by a waiter, even if the waiter was a Transcendent Realm powerhouse. Isn't it just some wine and dishes? Do you think this young master will cheat you? The Golden Rock suppressed the anger in his heart and said unhappily. He took out a cosmos bag and tossed it to the waiter. There are 5 million spirit essence stones in there. That should be enough to pay for our wine and dishes, right? 5 million spirit essence stones? Are you trying to dismiss a beggar? The waiter smiled disdainfully. His eyes were filled with mockery as he coldly said, Sir, your table of wine and dishes is 37. 9 billion spirit essence stones, 37. 9 billion spirit essence stones? Isn't this too much of a robbery? Before the waiter could finish speaking, the Golden Rock's eyes widened and he spoke in disbelief. A table of wine and dishes worth 37 billion spirit essence stones? Were these all immortal pills and spirit medicines? It had to be known that 37 billion spirit essence stones was equivalent to several years of the Golden Rock family's income. Haha, sir, our restaurant's wine and dishes are different from other restaurants. The waiter seemed to have expected the Golden Rock to react this way. He smiled faintly and said, The birds and beasts in our hotel are fed with spiritual medicine and spiritual pills. In addition, there are musicians and painters every day. They are taught music and poetry. Then, the waiter began to explain the differences between the restaurant's dishes. After listening to the waiter's explanation, Emo Chinyan was stunned as well. He was extremely surprised by this and sighed inwardly. It seems like this Wild Wave Inn is a shady inn. I wonder how strong they are? They actually dare to rob us in such a blatant manner. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, the Wild Billow restaurant's methods of extortion were a bit inferior. If the strength of the restaurant wasn't strong, then it was likely they would provoke powerful enemies. After listening to the waiter's explanation, the Golden Rock couldn't help but be dumbfounded. His heart was filled with anger. This was no longer extortion, this was clearly robbery. Chapter 863. Humph. Hearing the Golden Rock's words, a brown-haired middle-aged man at the counter snorted. Even the city lords of the 10 great sacred cities don't dare to say that they can flatten my Wild Billow restaurant. I'd like to see how your gilded city will flatten my Wild Billow restaurant. As the shopkeeper spoke, a terrifying aura erupted from his body. Under the envelopment of this aura, the Golden Rock immediately felt as if he was in an ice cellar, and his face instantly turned pale. Plop! Under the suppression of the shopkeeper's aura, the Golden Rock was so frightened that his legs immediately went soft, and he knelt on the ground. Divine Power Level 9 Powerhouse. The Golden Rock's teeth chattered as his face turned pale, and his mind went blank. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that he had unintentionally offended a Divine Power Level 9 powerhouse. This was simply an old man trying to hang himself, courting death. Although their gilded city was not weak and could barely be considered a first-rate city, there was only one Divine Power Level 8 powerhouse overseeing the city. In this way, if he couldn't pay for the dishes this time, he would really be dead. Even the Jean family wouldn't be able to save him. Say, Senior, I was wrong. I haven't eaten the dishes I ordered yet. Can I not order them now? At the thought of the terror of a Divine Power Level 9 powerhouse, the Golden Rock revealed a panicked expression and hurriedly begged the shopkeeper for mercy. You ordered them and you don't want them? Without waiting for the shopkeeper to speak, the waiter's expression darkened as he said coldly, The dishes you ordered, except for the Phoenix Blood Luan chicken that hasn't been slaughtered yet, have all been cooked. If you don't want them, who will? Waiter, please do me a favor. I really don't have that many elemental holy stones. Hearing the waiter's words, the Golden Rock revealed a mournful expression. He hugged the waiter's leg and begged, Since the Phoenix Blood Luan chicken hasn't been slaughtered yet, can I return this dish? Return it? Of course not. The waiter shook his head and rejected the Golden Rock's request without thinking. He said coldly, You ordered it but you don't want it. How will the Phoenix Blood Luan chicken treat the other chickens in front of it? How will the other birds treat it? How will it be served on the table in the future? Hearing the waiter's words, the Golden Rock was dumbfounded and did not know how to answer. Seeing Jean Peng crying in front of him, the shopkeeper showed an impatient expression and shouted into the restaurant, Sha Chong, Sha Ming, take some people with you and go to the Jean family in Gold City to collect the debt. If the Jean family dares not to cooperate, then we will do it according to the old rules. Yes. Sha Chong and Sha Ming immediately responded and dragged the half-dead Jean Peng out of the restaurant. Level 8 of the Transcendent Realm. Sensing the cultivation of Sha Ming and Sha Chong, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly. He was a little more curious about the Wild Billows Hotel. It was hard to believe that there were so many high-level god-tier powerhouses in such a small shop. After a brief moment of surprise, Emo Qingyun shook his head and laughed bitterly. He thought to himself, looks like a battle is unavoidable. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, if he didn't want to be cheated by the Wild Billows Hotel, he would have to fight with them. It was not in line with his personality to swallow his anger before paying tens of billions of elemental spirit stones for food and wine. Immediately, Emo Qingyun no longer thought about it. He moved Qi Lian and the others out of the Five Directions small pagoda and prepared to fight with the Wild Billows Hotel. As soon as Qi Lian came out of the Five Directions small pagoda, he frowned and looked at the shopkeeper in surprise. Qi Lian. Why, seeing Qi Lian's abnormal behavior, Mo Qingyun showed a puzzled expression and asked Qi Lian. However, before Mo Qingyun could finish his words, Mo Qingyun saw the shopkeeper quickly approaching with a respectful expression. Subordinate Sha Yunjin greets master. The shopkeeper came not far in front of Qi Lian and knelt in front of him with a respectful expression. Sha Yunjin? Hearing the shopkeeper's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He revealed a surprised smile and said, "So he is the Sha Yunjin that Qi Lian mentioned on the way to the sacred divine prefecture." After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised and nodded with a faint smile. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, with the addition of the Wild Billows Hotel's strength, they had nothing to fear in the sacred divine prefecture. Compared to Mo Qingyun's surprise, the shock in the hearts of Rong Ho and the others was undoubtedly stronger. They really didn't expect that a 9th-level transcendent power realm expert would be Qi Lian's subordinate. And, looking at Sha Yunjin kneeling in front of him, Qi Lian nodded indifferently and pointed to Mo Qingyun. "This is the young lord, Mo Qingyun. I am now the chief steward of the Mo mansion. You don't have to call me master in the future. Call me chief steward like everyone else. Young lord." Hearing Qi Lian's introduction, Sha Yunjin looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise. He was surprised that Qi Lian would recognize Mo Qingyun as his master. In his eyes, Qi Lian was an invincible existence below the Supremes. How could he be subdued by a Heaven Star Realm Junior? Yes, Chief Steward. However, although Sha Yunjin was puzzled, he still nodded respectfully and bowed to Mo Qingyun. Subordinate Sha Yunjin pays his respects to the young lord. Get up. Seeing Sha Yunjin's action, Mo Qingyun smiled and waved his hand, indicating for Sha Yunjin to get up. Thank you, young lord. After Sha Yunjin got up, he asked curiously, "Young lord, you and the chief steward came to Kanglan City for the Kanglan Demonic Valley." Kanglan Demonic Valley? Mo Qingyun was stunned when he heard that. He asked curiously, "Sha Yunjin, tell me about the Kanglan Demonic Valley in detail." Yes. Sha Yunjin nodded and said with a stern expression, "A month ago, the area within 10,000 li of the Kanglan mountain range began to tremble all of a sudden. Following it, a huge mountain in the Kanglan mountain range collapsed, forming a valley filled with a demonic aura. Many treasures appeared in the valley, attracting the attention of many factions. However, there is a barrier in the Kanglan Demonic Valley that only Heaven Star Realm cultivators can enter. Therefore, many geniuses from the sacred region Divine Continent have come to Kanglan City recently. Sha Yunjin proceeded to tell Mo Qingyun everything he knew about the Kanglan Devil Valley without missing a single word. It has appeared for a month. Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious and he was worried. He said to himself, "If that's the case, I hope the things inside are still there. Don't let others get to it first." Seeing Mo Qingyun frowning, Sha Yunjin thought that Mo Qingyun was worried that there would be no one to protect him in the Kanglan Demonic Valley. He said, "Young lord, don't worry. If you want to enter the Kanglan Demonic Valley, I will arrange 10 Heaven Star Realm cultivators to protect you in the Kanglan Demonic Valley." "No need, I can go in by myself." Chapter 864. Seeing Mo Qingyun's decision, Sha Yunjin's face was filled with worry. He wanted to say something but stopped himself. In his opinion, with Mo Qingyun's Heaven Star Border Stage 5 cultivation, it was too dangerous for him to enter the Kanglan Devil Valley alone. In the Kanglan Devil Valley, not only were there many taboos, there were also many terrifying demonic beasts. More importantly, the cultivators exploring the Kanglan Devil Valley could stab you in the back at any time, consigning you to eternal damnation. Don't worry. Since the young lord has made his decision, he must have the confidence to protect himself. Seeing Sha Yunjin's frown, Qi Lian put on a solemn expression and comforted Sha Yunjin. Qi Lian believed that with Mo Qingyun's teleportation gate and concealment gate, those below the Supremacy realm wouldn't be able to threaten his life. And Sha Yunjin nodded and didn't say anything else. He felt that there must be a reason why Qi Lian trusted Mo Qingyun so much. Perhaps Mo Qingyun really did have some powerful means to protect himself. Sha Yunjin then led the way and guided everyone to the Kanglan Devil Valley. When Mo Qingyun walked out of the Raging Wave restaurant, those who saw Mo Qingyun entering the restaurant were shocked. Someone actually managed to leave the Raging Waves restaurant unscathed. This was simply too unbelievable. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the reactions of the people around him. He rode on Savage Beast and followed closely behind Sha Yunjin. The Kanglan Devil Valley wasn't far from Kanglan City. About 2 hours later, they arrived outside the Kanglan Devil Valley. At this moment, the outer area of the Kanglan Devil Valley was filled with people. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as a sea of people. Among these people, there were Heaven Star Border cultivators who entered the Kanglan Devil Valley to explore. There were also Transcendent Realm seniors who were escorting their juniors. Pill Palace Realm. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that some of the Pill Palace Realm cultivators were also planning to take the risk and enter the Kanglan Devil Valley. It seemed like some people's minds had been blinded by the huge temptation. They only saw the treasures in front of them but didn't see the dangers behind the treasures. The Kanglan Devil Valley was huge. Even with Mo Qingyun's eyesight, he couldn't see the end of it. Above the Kanglan Devil Valley, there was a layer of black haze that gave off a creepy and terrifying feeling. As the breeze blew, the mist above the Kanglan Magic Valley shifted continuously, like ferocious phantoms. Pung pung pung, pung pung pung, pung pung, pung pung, pung, pung 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 pung. Mo Qingyun was overjoyed when he made this discovery. He became excited as he thought to himself, the Kanglan Devil Valley is indeed related to the Heavenly Soul Devil Tribe. I wonder what's hidden inside. Pung 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 g g g g pung pung g g g g g pung pens pung pung. Subsequently, under the escort of Sha Yunjin and the others, Mo Qingyun approached the entrance of the Azure Mist Devil Valley. Sensing the aura from Sha Yunjin and the others, the people at the entrance of the Kanglan Devil Valley respectfully opened up a path for them. Level 8 and Level 9 abyssal powers were at the pinnacle of the pyramid in the Sacred Divine Prefecture. Of course, when these people opened up a path for him, their expressions were mixed with other meanings. Where did this brat come from? He actually had a Level 9 Transcendent Realm expert escort him. It doesn't matter who he is now, once he enters the Kanglan Demonic Valley, he will have to keep his tail between his legs. That's right. With his Heaven Star Border Stage 5 cultivation, entering the Kanglan Devil Valley alone is simply courting death. A brat who can be escorted by a Level 9 Transcendent Art expert should have quite a few treasures on him. He's not a bad target. Very quickly, Mo Qingyun became the focus of everyone's attention, causing the surrounding people to have different thoughts. Mo Qingyun had no idea what the people around him were thinking. Of course, it was also rare for him to find out. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the entrance of the Kanglan Devil Valley under the escort of Sha Yunjin and the others. Qi Lian, you guys return to Kanglan City first. Don't wait for me here. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He instructed Qi Lian and the others and entered the Kanglan Devil Valley in a flash. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had entered the Kanglan Devil Valley, Qi Lian and the others did not stop. They immediately stood up and returned to Kanglan City. After entering the Kanglan Devil Valley, Mo Qingyun felt a strong pressure that made it hard for him to breathe. In addition, Mo Qingyun also felt a familiar aura in the Kanglan Devil Valley. The aura in the Kanglan Devil Valley is similar to the 100 Countries battlefield. It's just that it's much stronger than the 100 Countries battlefield. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun became even more curious. He began to go deeper into the Kanglan Devil Valley. Not long after Emo Qingyun went deeper into the Kanglin Devil Valley, a black shadow approached him rapidly. It was emitting a shocking demonic aura. Who is it? Emo Qingyun had a divinity realm soul cultivation. His senses were extremely strong. As soon as the black shadow approached, Emo Qingyun noticed it. The black shadow did not respond to Emo Qingyun's question. Instead, it leaped up and stepped on Emo Qingyun. Seeing that the black shadow was about to attack, Emo Qingyun did not dare to be complacent. He immediately retreated with wind under his feet. The moment Emo Qingyun dodged, the black figure stepped on the spot where he had been standing a moment ago in a domineering manner. Bang! A loud sound was heard. After the voice rang out, a terrifying wave of energy erupted from the source of the voice. Under this wave of energy, it immediately formed a storm of energy, shaking the rocks and causing dust to fly. You have a fast reaction. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had dodged its attack, a stiff voice came from the center of the storm of dust. This voice was different from the normal voice of a human. It sounded like it came from the abdomen. It was extremely strange. After a while, the storm of dust dissipated. The black shadow appeared in Emo Qingyun's sight. It was a very ugly demonic beast. It looked like a leg with a nose, eyes, mouth, and ears. Leg demon. Seeing the demonic beast in front of him, Emo Qingyun naturally thought of this term. He thought to himself, if that's the case, what's buried in the Kanglin Devil Valley must be related to the leg of a heavenly soul demon. While Emo Qingyun was thinking, the leg demon flashed and kicked at Emo Qingyun. The leg demon's attack was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it kicked at Emo Qingyun's chest. Eye light and blade light. Seeing that the leg demon was approaching rapidly, Emo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate. He immediately activated the Heavenly Soul Demon Eye. Then, his right eye glowed and shot out a sharp blade light. Puff! The saber light flashed and instantly hit the approaching leg demon. It hit the soles of its feet and directly split it into two. However, even though the leg devil was split into two, it still managed to land a hit on Emo Qingyun's right shoulder with the remaining force. Chapter 865. To be able to unleash such an attack with just a Heaven Star Border Stage 2 cultivation, I'm afraid I won't be able to deal with an advanced Heaven Star Border Stage 2 leg demon. After witnessing the leg demon's strength, Emo Qingyun couldn't help but be shocked. He immediately raised his guard. The bloodline in the eye demon's body can increase the strength of my heavenly soul bloodline. I wonder if the leg demon can do the same? Looking at the leg demon's corpse that had been split into two, Emo Qingyun made a guess. He then started to refine the bloodline in the leg demon's body. Under Emo Qingyun's actions, the remaining blood in the leg demon's body was immediately extracted by him. After extracting the leg demon's blood, Emo Qingyun wrapped it with Yuan Qi and used his martial soul fire to refine it. Under Emo Qingyun's refinement, a familiar power was extracted and slowly flowed into his body. Once this power entered Emo Qingyun's body, it merged with Emo Qingyun's bloodline power and entered a state of perfect harmony. Following this, the strength of Emo Qingyun's heavenly soul bloodline started to increase slowly. The increase was minuscule, but Emo Qingyun could feel that the strength of his bloodline was increasing bit by bit. This meant that refining the leg demon's blood could increase the strength of his bloodline. It is indeed effective. After discovering this, Emo Qingyun was immediately overjoyed and started to refine the leg demon's blood. 15 minutes later, the bloodline power in the leg demon's corpse was completely refined by Emo Qingyun, causing it to shrivel up. After refining the leg demon's bloodline power, Emo Qingyun stopped cultivating and slowly stood up. The leg demon is indeed the same as the eye demon. Its bloodline power can increase the strength of my heavenly soul bloodline. Sensing the increase in the strength of his bloodline, Emo Qingyun had an answer in his heart. A faint smile appeared on his face as he said, However, my heavenly soul bloodline is far stronger than before. I'm afraid it's impossible to greatly increase my heavenly soul bloodline with just the bloodline power in the leg demon's body. It looks like I have to find the source of the eye membrane and refine it. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and quickly headed towards the depths of the Kanglan Devil Valley. Swish, swish, swish. Meanwhile, just as Mo Qingyun was about to venture deeper into the Kanglan Devil Valley, the sound of leaves rustling entered his ears. Then, with the help of his soul power, he discovered that they were rapidly approaching him. These people's cultivation bases weren't weak. One of them was at the 7th level of Heaven Dipper, while the other 3 were at the 6th level of Heaven Dipper. When they arrived in front of Mo Qingyun, a sinister smile appeared on their faces as they sized up Mo Qingyun. "Brat, you're pretty fast. You almost got away." After sizing up Mo Qingyun, the 7th level Heaven Dipper cultivator said proudly, "These people are here for me? Did the Golden Rock send them?" Hearing the 7th level Heaven Dipper cultivator's words, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He started to guess the purpose of these people. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, he had just arrived at the Kanglan city, and the only person he had a grudge with was the Golden Rock. Therefore, these people should be sent by the Golden Rock to take revenge on him. However, the Golden Rock had already been brought back to Gold City after offending Sha Yunjin. Logically speaking, it was impossible for him to take revenge on Mo Qingyun. Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun was puzzled. He didn't understand the purpose of these people. After a short moment of confusion, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and said coldly, "I don't think I know you guys. May I know why you're looking for me?" "It doesn't matter if you know us or not. It's fine as long as we know you." In response to Mo Qingyun's question, the 7th level Heaven Dipper cultivator sneered and said, "A person who can be escorted by 8th and 9th level Transcendent God Realm cultivators must have an extraordinary identity. Since that's the case, you must have a lot of treasures on you, right? So that's why you're here." After hearing the man's words, Mo Qingyun immediately knew why he was here. He smiled faintly and said, "Since you know that my identity is extraordinary, aren't you afraid that I'll take revenge on you for treating me like this?" "Revenge?" The man immediately laughed and said, "Brat, this is the Kanglan Devil Valley. The outside world doesn't know anything that happens here. After we kill you, as long as we don't tell anyone, no one will know that we did it. Brat, if you want to die a quick death, hand over your Qiankuan pouch. Brat, I advise you not to play any tricks. You don't have the chance to resist in front of us. Big brother Hong Lei, let's not talk nonsense with this brat. Let's just kill him. Hong Fan is right. The Kanglan Devil Valley is full of danger. Let's get rid of this brat as soon as possible." As the voice of the 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign faded, the other 3 all had expressions of impatience on their faces as they urged him to hurry up. "If that's the case, Hong Fan, go and take care of this brat. Do it quickly." Hearing the words of the people beside him, Hong Lei, who was the strongest among them, ordered the person beside him. "Yes." Hearing Hong Lei's order, Hong Fan didn't dare to hesitate in the slightest. He immediately approached Mo Qingyun, rubbed his fists and said, "Boy, I still say the same thing. If you don't want to suffer physical pain, then obediently surrender. If you want to surrender, you'll have to show me what you're capable of." Looking at the approaching Hong Fan, a bright smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face. He smiled faintly and said, "My cultivation has improved a little recently. Just nice, I can test my saber on you guys." Recently, Mo Qingyun had been busy with the matters of the Qingyun Palace and the Ren family, so he didn't have time to go out and train. Therefore, he didn't have a clear understanding of his own strength. Now that he met Hong Lei and the other 3, Mo Qingyun felt that they would be good sparring partners to test his true strength. "Oh, if that's the case, you still want to resist?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Hong Fan's face immediately lit up. It was as if he heard something funny. In his opinion, with the four of them working together, they could even fight against someone in the 8th level of Heaven Dipper. But now, a brat in the 5th level of Heaven Dipper actually wanted to resist when facing the four of them. He was overestimating himself. "Brat, since you're asking for trouble, I'll grant you your wish," Hong Fan said coldly. He didn't say anything more to Mo Qingyun and directly attacked Mo Qingyun. Kuei breaking the Green Mountain. Hong Fan clenched his fists and leaned forward slightly. He directly punched towards Mo Qingyun. Instantly, two terrifying origin energy fluctuations converged on this person's two fists, emitting a dazzling silver glow. Chapter 866. I didn't expect Hong Fan's Kuei Ox Overlord Fist to have reached the greater success stage. Hong Lei's expression changed slightly when he saw Hong Fan's attack. His eyes were filled with shock. He knew the power of the Kuei Ox Overlord Fist better than anyone else. This Kuei Ox Overlord Fist was a high-grade Earth-grade martial art that he and Hong Fan had obtained in a secret place. In terms of a single attack, its might was comparable to an ordinary top-grade Earth-grade martial art, and could not be underestimated. I'm afraid I'm not Hong Fan's match with the power of his Kuei Ox Overlord Fist. That's right. Even a Heaven Star Border Stage 7 expert wouldn't dare to take Hong Fan's Kuei Ox breaking the Green Mountain head-on. That kid is dead for sure. Hong Fan can finish him off with a single punch. After Hong Lei spoke, the other two people beside Hong Lei revealed cold smiles and said something complacent. Great. Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate when he saw Hong Fan's attack. He threw a punch at Hong Fan. When he threw out a punch, Mo Qingyun's body emitted a mist that surrounded his body like a flame. Enveloped by this essence power, Mo Qingyun's fist flashed with light, as if it was a ball of flowing flames. Bang bang! 2 consecutive sounds of impact rang out. Then, everyone saw Mo Qingyun's fists collide with Hong Fan's 2 fists and directly shatter the 2 fists. After destroying Hong Fan's 2 fist radiance, Mo Qingyun's fist didn't slow down and continued to smash towards Hong Fan's chest. So strong. Hong Fan's face twitched when he saw Mo Qingyun's attack. He was shocked. Mo Qingyun's Heaven Star Border Stage 5 cultivation easily broke through his attack. This scene was out of Hong Fan's expectations. After a brief moment of shock, Hong Fan hurriedly raised his arms above his head, making an iron bridge blocking the river posture to block Mo Qingyun's punch. Bang! Mo Qingyun's fist landed on Hong Fan's arms like a Mount Tai. Violent elemental force exploded. Crack! Under the impact of the violent elemental force, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard from Hong Fan's arms. Under Mo Qingyun's punch, both of his arms were directly blasted until his bones were fractured. As the sound of bones cracking was heard, Hong Fan's body was sent flying by Mo Qingyun's punch. Pa as Hong Fan's body continued to fly backwards, the branches in his path were broken one after another, making a series of crisp sounds. Puff. Moments later, Hong Fan's face as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Hong Fan, are you alright? Seeing Hong Fan's appearance, Hong Lei and the other two became nervous. They hurried to his side and asked about his situation. I'm fine. With the help of Hong Lei and the other two, Hong Fan stood up with difficulty. He looked at Mo Qingyun with fear and said, "This guy is very strong. When we fight with him later, we must not be careless." That's right. If I'm not wrong, this guy is probably a double-kill genius. Hearing Hong Fan's words, Hong Lei nodded solemnly and gave Mo Qingyun a very high evaluation. Everyone on the Divine Prefecture Outstanding Heroes list was a first-class genius. Moreover, their cultivation was basically the same. In order to clearly distinguish the difference in their strength, everyone made a new standard for their strength. For example, if one could defeat an opponent one level higher than him, He would be a single kill genius. If one could defeat an opponent 2 levels higher than him, he would be a double kill genius. Of course, under normal circumstances, those who could defeat an opponent 3 levels higher than him were basically 1 in 10,000. As for those who could defeat an opponent 7 or 8 levels higher than him, they were basically legendary existences and were rarely seen under normal circumstances. Brother Hong Lei, is this guy really that powerful? Yeah. If that's the case, won't he be able to challenge the Divine Prefecture Outstanding Heroes list when his cultivation reaches the Advanced Heaven Star Border stage? Hearing Hong Lei's words, Hong Fan and the others' expressions changed. They did not expect Mo Qingyun's talent to be so high. It doesn't matter if he is or not. He will definitely die today. In response to the shocked words of Hong Fan and the others beside him, Hong Lei revealed a gloomy expression and uttered a cold sentence. He knew clearly that with Mo Qingyun's talent and background, if they could not kill Mo Qingyun, the 3 of them would be the ones to die. At this moment, Hong Lei and the others were still shocked by Mo Qingyun's strength. After a lesson with Hong Fan, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of his current combat strength. Earlier, I only used the origin energy of 3 Dan palaces. Even without using any martial arts, I was still able to defeat him. From the looks of it, my cultivation base should be comparable to the peak of the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper. After Mo Qingyun thought to himself, he continued to speculate. He thought to himself, if I use all of the origin energy in the Dan Palace and don't use any martial arts, I should be able to fight against a Heaven Dipper Stage 8 expert. If I use other techniques, I should be able to fight against a Transcendent Stage 1 expert. This guy is very strong. We don't need to hold back anymore. Let's finish him off together. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's powerful combat strength, Hong Lei's expression turned solemn. He instructed the 3 beside him and thought to himself, a person who can be escorted by someone in the Transcendent Stage 8 and Stage 9 is indeed not an ordinary person. His background is indeed strong. Following which, Hong Lei and the other 3 walked towards Mo Qingyun step by step and surrounded Mo Qingyun in the middle. Kid, your strength has exceeded my expectations. If we were at the same cultivation level, the 4 of us wouldn't be your match even if we worked together. After Hong Lei said those words, a sinister smile appeared on his face. He said proudly, however, with your cultivation level of Heaven Star Border Stage 5, you're still not our match. If you know what's good for you, you'd better surrender. That person said the same thing to me just now. In the end, he couldn't even take one move from me. Mo Qingyun smiled at Hong Lei's words. He pointed at Hong Fan and said, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. If you can take one move from me, I won't kill you. Shameless boasting. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Hong Lei and the other 2 were enraged. Mo Qingyun was no longer looking down on them. Kuei Cow Charge. Illusory Crane Dust Sword. Dragon's Might Breaking Star Blade. 9-segment Dragon Coiling Staff. In an instant, Hong Lei and the other 2 attacked with all their might, displaying their strongest attacks. Under the attacks of Hong Lei and the other 3, streaks of sword radiance, fist shadows, saber chi, and staff shadows shot towards Mo Qingyun. Very good. Only such attacks can let me test your true combat strength. Chapter 867. Mo Qingyun took out the blazing halberd and leaped into the air, thrusting the halberd towards Hong Lei and the other 3. Blazing sky-breaking halberd. The moment Mo Qingyun thrusted the blazing halberd out, it flew towards Hong Lei and the other 3 like an unbridled horse. As the blazing halberd fell, the flames on the halberd's blade surged. It was as if a fire dragon was coiling around it. Clang! Just as the blazing halberd was about to leave Mo Qingyun's hand, Mo Qingyun suddenly gripped the blazing halberd tightly in his right hand. At the same time, An even more shocking amount of yuan energy emerged from Emo Qingyun's palm and infused into the blazing halberd. Roar! As Emo Qingyun's yuan energy infused into the blazing halberd, the aura on the blazing halberd increased and the dragon shadow halberd became more solid. Immediately, a 10-meter-long dragon shadow halberd flew out from the blazing halberd and charged towards Hong Lei and the other three. Bang 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 bang, a thunderous roar came from the source of the sound, and a light that looked like an epiphyllum bloomed. As soon as the light that resembled an epiphyllum appeared, a shocking power surged out from it and wreaked havoc in the surroundings. Under the impact of this terrifying force, the surrounding vegetation and forest were instantly razed to the ground, turning into a scene of chaos. Puff! Under the impact of this energy, Hong Lei and the other three were sent flying. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and their auras weakened. Plop! Moments later, Hong Lei and the other three fell to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust and leaves. They lay on the ground for a long time, unable to get up. Triple kill prodigy. After exchanging blows with Emo Qingyun, Hong Lei had a new understanding of Emo Qingyun's combat strength. Emo Qingyun was definitely a triple kill prodigy. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to defeat the four of them in one move. This was because the four of them had once fought against a Heaven Star Border Stage 8 prodigy together and defeated him. With such a comparison, the gap between them was naturally revealed. Judging from the strength Emo Qingyun displayed, he definitely had the ability to kill 8th-level Heavenly Dipper Sovereigns. Knowing how powerful Emo Qingyun was, Hong Lei and the others looked at Emo Qingyun with fear in their eyes. With regards to the performance of Hong Lei and the others, Emo Qingyun didn't pay any attention to them. Instead, he started to ponder as he mumbled to himself, "The combined attack of Hong Lei and the others should be comparable to an 8th-level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign. In that case, my earlier estimation was correct. Without using any of my trump cards, I should be able to fight against a 9th-level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign." After thinking about it this way, Emo Qingyun had a clear understanding of his own strength. As I said earlier, if you can withstand one of my attacks, I will spare your lives. Cram. After figuring out his current strength, Emo Qingyun waved his hand at Hong Lei and the others. He didn't want to tangle with them anymore. Yes, yes, yes. Seeing Emo Qingyun telling them to scram, Hong Lei and the others immediately scrambled away as if they had heard a heavenly voice. What a joke. It wasn't easy for them to get a chance to survive. How could they not cherish it? After telling Hong Lei and the others to scram, Emo Qingyun didn't stay any longer. He got up and headed towards the depths of the Kanglin Devil Valley. He was prepared to continue hunting leg devils to increase the strength of his heavenly soul demonic bloodline. In the following time, Emo Qingyun hunted leg devils to increase the strength of his heavenly soul demonic bloodline. At the same time, he refined the wind vortex crystal to increase the realm of his wind origin. Although he didn't find the source of the leg devil valley quickly, Emo Qingyun's cultivation arrangements were carried out in an orderly manner. A few days later, when Emo Qingyun was wholeheartedly cultivating in the Kanglin Devil Valley, a young man came to the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. "I've finally arrived at the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain." Looking at the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain before him, a sinister smile appeared on the young man's face. His expression became a little ferocious as he muttered to himself, "Young Master Blood Refiner, I'll tell Lord Sword Sovereign about your news. I'm sure he'll be very happy." After muttering to himself, the young man no longer hesitated and walked into the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. The young man was none other than Huang Fu Qingsong, who had left the Sun Moon City for the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. When he arrived at the entrance of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, Huang Fu Qingsong wasn't stopped by anyone. He was directly brought into the sect by a disciple who was guarding the mountain. After a while, Huang Fu Qingsong arrived in front of a huge hall. The hall was grand and magnificent. It was a few 100 feet tall, and there was a huge sword that was a few meters long at the top of the hall. As Huang Fu Qingsong approached, he felt a powerful aura from the sword. Sky Sword Hall. After glancing at the plaque in front of the hall, Huang Fu Qingsong walked into the hall. Junior Huang Fu Qingsong greets Lord Sword Sovereign. After a while, Huang Fu Qingsong entered the hall and bowed to the middle-aged man at the top of the hall. The middle-aged man was the owner of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, Sword Sovereign Li He. Although Li He looked like he was in his 50s, he was actually more than 1,000 years old. He had a pair of sword-like eyebrows and a cold expression. He had an imposing aura. At that moment, even though he was sitting there without saying a word, Huang Fu Qingsong had the urge to kneel down and worship him. Nephew Qingsong, you don't have to be so courteous. Why are you looking for me? Li He waved his hand indifferently. He looked at Huang Fu Qingsong curiously and asked for his purpose of visit. Seeing that Li He was asking for his purpose of visit, Huang Fu Qingsong didn't dare to beat around the bush. He went straight to the point and said, Sword Sovereign, I came to the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain this time because I have something important to report to you. Oh! Li He's expression changed when he heard Huang Fu Qingsong's words. He looked at Huang Fu Qingsong curiously. A few days ago, I traveled to Sun Moon City in the Holy Region Divine Prefecture and obtained news about the Blood Refiner Demon King. Huang Fu Qingsong unhurriedly told Li He everything he knew about Mo Qinyun. Towards the end, Huang Fu Qingsong's expression turned solemn. Furthermore, I believe that Blood Refinement Demon King Qi Lian might not be dead. He might still be alive. Crack. Li He's expression darkened when he heard Huang Fu Qingsong's words. He crushed the cup in his hand and said agitatedly, Are you sure that the Blood Refiner Demon King is still alive? Regarding Qi Lian's cultivation back then, Li He was very clear in his heart. If Qi Lian hadn't died back then, it was very likely that he would have broken through to the Supremacy stage by now. At that time, if Qi Lian came to seek revenge, it would be a great threat. This was a matter of great importance. He couldn't afford to be careless and had to deal with it carefully. Sword Sovereign, please let me finish. Chapter 868. There's such a thing. After listening to Huang Fu Qingsong's narration, Li He's expression became solemn as he thought to himself, It seems like those two people are indeed related to the Blood Refiner Demon King. But even so, it's still unable to prove that the Blood Refiner Demon King is still alive. Senior Sword Sovereign, you didn't see that young man, so you don't know the truth. Upon seeing the doubt on Li He's face, Huang Fu Qingsong hurriedly explained, That old man who cultivates the bloodthirsty devil art has a cultivation base close to the 8th level of the Heavenly Dipper realm. How could such a powerful expert acknowledge a junior at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper as his master? Even if he is the successor of a sovereign, it would still be very difficult. Huang Fu Qingsong paused for a moment and said, In this way, this means that young man should be the son of the Blood Refinement Demon King. That young man is only a little over 20 years old. If the Blood Refinement Demon King really died 1,000 years ago, how could he have such a young son? What you said does make some sense. It seems that the Blood Refiner Demon King is still alive. Li He nodded in agreement with Huang Fu Qingsong's deduction. The Blood Refiner Demon King is an extremely evil person. If he's alive, he'll only bring disaster to the world. In order to maintain the peace of the Tianhun continent, it seems that this sovereign needs to go out and eliminate this demon on behalf of the heavens. As soon as he finished speaking, Li He stood up from the chair and intended to move out to kill Qi Lian. Seeing Li He's action, the young men below immediately walked to the center of the hall. Master, there's no need for you to personally deal with a demon like the Blood Refiner Demon King. Let us do it. That's right. Eldest senior brother is invincible below the sovereign level. He'll definitely succeed. This disciple is currently trying to break through to the sovereign level and needs a strong opponent to motivate me. The Blood Refiner Demon King should be a suitable candidate. All of a sudden, Li He's disciples all volunteered to deal with the Blood Refinement Demon King Qi Lian. I'm really happy that all of you have this kind of heart. Looking at the disciples below, Li He revealed a gratified smile and nodded. Martial arts cultivation indeed requires experiencing life and death battles to temper one's will. Now that the mission of dealing with the blood-refining Demon King is the best opportunity for all of you to gain experience. In that case, the mission of dealing with the blood-refining Demon King will be handed over to Iron Wing. Thank you for your permission, Master. Disciple will not let you down. Seeing that Li He had agreed to his request, Iron Wing immediately revealed a happy expression and bowed to Li He. Iron Wing was Li He's eldest disciple. His cultivation had reached the level of a quasi-supreme, and he was only a step away from breaking through to the Supreme Being realm. In addition to his astonishing cultivation, Iron Wing also possessed a powerful bloodline power. Even if he were to face a Supreme Being expert, he would be able to exchange 100 blows with him. Master, your disciple's cultivation base has reached the peak of the Heaven Star Border realm. I would also like to go out and gain experience to seek an opportunity to break through to the Transcendent realm. Seeing that Li He had agreed to Iron Wing's request, the young man in blue beside him walked to the hall and asked Li He with his hands folded. Blindly practicing in seclusion is really not conducive to sharpening the will of the sword. It's good to go out and gain experience. Seeing the request of the young man in blue, Li He frowned slightly. He pondered for a moment and said, "In this case, you can go to the Sun and Moon City with Iron Wing. If Iron Wing takes care of you, it should be more helpful for your experience." "Thank you, Master." Seeing that Li He had agreed to his request, Fang Yuan was immediately surprised and thanked Li He quickly. Then he winked at Iron Wing and said, "First senior fellow apprentice, I will rely on you to take care of me in the following time." "Well." Tai Yi nodded and didn't say anything. "Nephew Qingsong, you have worked hard to deliver the message this time. In order to express my gratitude to you, I can satisfy your request." After explaining the matter of dealing with Qi Lian, Li He looked at Huang Fu Qingsong with a faint smile and made a promise to him. "Thank you, Sword Master." Huang Fu Qingsong's face lit up when he heard Li He's words. His expression became excited as he said, "Sword Sovereign, Junior has always heard of your legendary deeds from my father, and I feel endless admiration for you. Junior pleads Sword Sovereign to take me as your disciple." After that, Huang Fu Qingsong knelt down to Li He with a devout expression on his face. Seeing Huang Fu Qingsong's action, everyone on the side was stunned. They were a little surprised by Huang Fu Qingsong's idea. "Little guy, you are really cunning. It seems that you have already made this idea before coming to the Heavenly Sword Villa." After a short surprise, Li He smiled faintly. His words hit Huang Fu Qingsong's inner thoughts. "I don't dare to lie to you, Sword Master. I really think so." For Li He's words, Huang Fu Qingsong did not hide his inner thoughts and answered directly. Who was Li He? He was an old monster who had lived for thousands of years. Acting cunning in front of him was just deceiving oneself and others. "Yes." Li He revealed a satisfied smile when he heard Huang Fu Qingsong's frank reply. He nodded and said, "Don't worry, since I've agreed to complete a request of yours, I naturally won't go back on my word. In this way, you'll be my 19th disciple." "Thank you, Master." Huang Fu Qingsong was immediately overjoyed when he saw that Li He had agreed to accept him as his disciple. He hurriedly knelt to Li He. "No need to be so courteous. Get up first." Li He smiled and waved his hand at Huang Fu Qingsong's actions. He said, "Next, your first senior will go to the Sun Moon City to deal with the blood-refining Demon King. He will need you to lead the way and guide him. As a result, your ceremony will be arranged after killing the blood-refining Demon King. I will follow Master's arrangements. Hearing Li He's words, Huang Fu Qingsong showed a humble expression and hurriedly bowed to Li He. Good. Seeing Huang Fu Qingsong's actions, Li He nodded with satisfaction. Next, Li He told Huang Fu Qingsong and the others to leave the hall and head to the Sun-Moon City of the Divine Region. Mo Qinyun had no idea about the arrival of Huang Fu Qingsong and the others. He was currently cultivating in the Kanglin Devil Valley. Although I still haven't found the source of the Leg Devil, my strength has improved a lot in this half a month. At this moment, in a corner of the Kanglin Devil Valley, Mo Qinyun exited from his cultivation and said happily, "Now, my cultivation has reached the peak of mid-stage Heaven Star Border Stage 5. I believe that it won't be long before I break through to late-stage Heaven Star Border Stage 5. Not only that, my middle point killing finger has also reached the level of essence. Since I have refined the bloodline power of the Leg Devil's corpse, it's time to continue searching for the source of the Leg Devil." Looking at the shriveled corpse of the Leg Devil, Mo Qinyun did not delay any longer and headed towards the depths of the Kanglin Devil Valley. At this moment, a familiar figure appeared in front of Mo Qinyun. Chapter 869. At this moment, the person in front of Mo Qinyun was the Golden Purng who had been captured by Sha Yunjin's men in the Wild Wave restaurant. Due to the strength of the Wild Wave restaurant, the Jin family of Gold City had no choice but to pay 37 billion elemental holy stones. Because of the Golden Purng, the Jin family had lost 37 billion elemental holy stones all of a sudden. The elders of the Jin family were naturally furious. Because of this, the Golden Purng was severely punished. If he wasn't the son of the family head, and if he didn't have a genius elder brother, he might have been crippled of his cultivation and expelled from the family. Although he kept his cultivation and wasn't directly expelled from the family, the Golden Peng's status in the family had plummeted in an instant. The Golden Purng naturally resented the Wild Wave restaurant for ending up like this. However, he also knew that with his ability, it was impossible for him to take revenge. Although the Golden Purng couldn't take revenge on the Wild Wave restaurant, when he looked at Mo Qinyun, his hatred for the Wild Wave restaurant was transferred to Mo Qinyun. In his opinion, if Mo Qinyun hadn't angered him back then, perhaps he wouldn't have been slaughtered by the Wild Wave restaurant. Mo Qinyun didn't care about the Golden Peng's anger at all. He smiled faintly and said, "I didn't expect the Jin family to not severely punish you after you were slaughtered by the Wild Wave restaurant for 37 billion elemental holy stones. It seems that your status in the Jin family is not simple." It would have been better if Mo Qinyun hadn't said this. Once he said it, the Golden Purng felt that Mo Qinyun was mocking him. My status in the Jin family has nothing to do with you," the Golden Purng said angrily. His face darkened as he glared at Mo Qinyun and said, "Last time in the Wild Wave restaurant, you relied on your 6th-level divine ability, Realm Mount, to heavily injure my guards and humiliate me. Now that you don't have a 6th-level divine ability, Realm Mount, to protect you, how will I deal with you?" "Deal with me?" Upon hearing the Golden Rock's gloomy words, Mo Qinyun shook his head with a faint smile and said nonchalantly, "Even without the protection of the savage beast, it would still be very easy for me to deal with you." As Mo Qinyun spoke, he released his soul power and sensed the cultivation bases of the people behind the Golden Rock. The cultivation bases of the people behind the Golden Rock weren't low. They were all high-level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns. One of the young men was even at the peak of the mid-stage Heavenly Dipper sovereigns. This young man, who was at the peak of the mid-stage of Heaven Dipper Star Border, looked similar to the Golden Rock. He must be the genius that the Golden Rock mentioned, Jin Buhuan. "Brat, before you hit a dog, you have to look at its owner. If you want to deal with my second brother, you have to ask me first." Jean Buhuan's expression became colder when he heard Mo Qingyun's arrogant words. He walked over slowly and said, "Originally, with my status, I would disdain to attack you. However, since you're so arrogant and condescending, I can only teach you a lesson. Big brother, don't kill this brat immediately. Let me teach him a lesson and torture him slowly." Seeing that Jean Buhuan was willing to help, the Golden Rock immediately looked happy and said gloomily. He looked at Mo Qingyun with cold eyes. "All right." Jean Buhuan nodded coldly in response to Jean Peng's request. He said in a deep voice, "This kid ate and came out unscathed. He probably has a shocking amount of wealth on him. If we take his wealth, we should be able to make up for your mistake and make up for your mistake last time. Big brother, whether I can get the family's forgiveness or not depends on you." The Golden Rock became emotional when he heard Jean Buhuan's words. He looked at Jean Buhuan pleadingly. "Don't worry, I'm here this time. Nothing will happen." Jean Buhuan comforted the Golden Rock and said coldly to Mo Qingyun, "Brat, with your Heaven Star Border Stage 5 cultivation, you won't be able to escape from me. You're just going to wait for your death." Mo Qingyun didn't answer Jean Buhuan's words. Instead, he smiled and asked, "You're Jean Buhuan, ranked 987th on the Divine Continent Genius ranking?" "That's right. Since you know who I am, you should know that you don't stand a chance against me." Seeing that Mo Qingyun knew who he was, Jean Buhuan raised his head arrogantly and said, "Also, I'll tell you one more thing. 987th was my previous ranking. Not long ago, I defeated Yang Shi, who was ranked 956. Now, I'm ranked 956th. Not bad, not bad. If that's the case, you're worthy of my full strength." After knowing Jean Buhuan's strength, Mo Qingyun didn't show any signs of fear. Instead, he was filled with battle intent. Previously, Hong Lei and the others were too weak to force him to use his full strength. He only displayed a portion of his strength, so he didn't have a complete understanding of his own strength. Now, with Jean Buhuan's strength, he could use his full strength to fight him. It would allow him to have a clearer understanding of his own strength. Indeed, you won't cry until you see the coffin. If that's the case, I'll fulfill your wish." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was still so arrogant at this time, Jean Buhuan's expression immediately turned cold. Then, Jean Buhuan didn't hesitate and wanted to attack Mo Qingyun. However, just as Jean Buhuan was about to attack, a few young men behind him stepped forward. "Brother Jean Buhuan, you don't have to do it yourself to take care of this brat. We're more than enough." "That's right. Let us do it. I'd like to see if this brat is really that strong." The few young men behind Jean Buhuan mocked him as soon as they walked up to him. "If that's the case, you can play with him first." Jean Buhuan didn't stop them when he saw what they were doing. He crossed his arms and walked back slowly. He said proudly, "Brat, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. If you want to fight me, you'll have to defeat them first. Since you want them to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Mo Qingyun responded coldly to Jean Buhuan's words. He then attacked the few young men. Sky-breaking blazing halberd. Mo Qingyun stabbed out with his halberd. The flames on the blazing halberd burned brightly and a shocking heat wave exploded. "You're courting death." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was attacking them, Jean Buhuan's followers immediately blocked the attack. Following that, waves of shocking fist radiance, saber shadows, and sword radiance erupted from the hands of those people. Bang bang bang, the halberd radiance, fist radiance, and sword radiance collided with each other. There was a loud bang and a shocking shockwave. Jean Buhuan's followers were immediately sent flying by the shockwave. They fell to the ground with heavy injuries. 3-kill genius. Chapter 870. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's prowess, Jean Buhuan stopped looking down on him. With Mo Qingyun's prowess, Jean Buhuan knew that Mo Qingyun was qualified to fight him. He had to be cautious. I didn't expect you to be a triple kill prodigy. I've underestimated you. Jin Buhuan looked solemn as he sized up Mo Qingyun. If that's the case, you're qualified to be my opponent. However, if that's all you've got, you won't be able to escape your fate of being killed. As soon as Jin Buhuan finished speaking, he did not waste any more time talking to Mo Qingyun. Instead, he threw out a palm strike at Mo Qingyun. Flying flower moon seizing palm. Jin Buhuan blasted out with a palm strike, elemental energy erupting from his palm like a sea of flowers. The moment this flower-like essence energy appeared, it formed a rainbow-colored essence energy palm and squeezed towards Mo Qingyun. Blazing Sky Halberd. Mo Qingyun did not hesitate to attack Jin Buhuan. He spun the blazing halberd in his hand and flicked it upward. Then, a halberd shadow flew out from the blazing halberd and collided with the sea of elemental energy palm. Chi chi chi. When the halberd shadow collided with the sea of elemental energy palm, an ear-piercing sound was heard. It sounded like two pieces of metal rubbing against each other. Soon, the sea of elemental energy palm dissipated under the spinning halberd shadow and returned to the world. Not bad. Jin Buhuan's expression turned cold when he saw that Mo Qingyun had easily countered his attack. He attacked Mo Qingyun again. Flowery wasp palm. Jin Buhuan waved his palm and the elemental energy in his palm turned into a black wasp shadow. In the blink of an eye, thousands of wasp shadow formed from elemental energy charged toward Mo Qingyun with a buzzing sound. The sixth move of the flower deity Heavenly Palm, Flower Sea Wasp Palm technique, has reached the great accomplishment level. Big Brother has actually practiced the flower deity Heavenly Palm to this level. He is indeed the #1 genius of our Jin family. Seeing Jin Buhuan's attack, Jin Peng was shocked. He admired Jin Buhuan in his heart and said proudly, "Kid, my big brother's palm has the power of a high-rank Earth-grade martial art. He used this palm to defeat Yang Shi, who is ranked 956th on the Divine Continent Genius list. Prepare to die. A mere high-tier Earth-grade martial art manual can't stop me." Mo Qingyun didn't care about the Golden Rock's proud words. He curled his lips and waved the scorching halberd in his hand. Mo Qingyun quickly waved his halberd, and a series of fire and dragon shadows with a threatening aura surged out from the halberd. Using fire to break the bees. Facing the impact of the flaming dragon halberd light, the poisonous wasp shadow was instantly incinerated, disappearing from the world in the blink of an eye. Inaction Sky Concealing Finger. After neutralizing Jin Buhuan's attack, Mo Qingyun's attack didn't slow down. With a twist of his right hand, he kept the scorching halberd on his back and raised his left hand to point at Jin Buhuan. Mo Qingyun's attack looked very ordinary. At first glance, it didn't even seem to be powered by Yuan power. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the golden rock on the side immediately looked happy. He smiled mockingly and said, "Boy, it turns out that you are nothing more than this. You are just a paper tiger who is strong on the outside but weak on the inside. You only managed to block 2 of my big brother's palms before you became powerless. Out of strength? Watch carefully." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly in response to the Golden Rock's mocking words, and he opened his mouth to reply. As Mo Qingyun spoke, a shocking wave of Yuan power gathered in front of Jin Buhuan. Then, a huge black index finger formed rapidly and blasted towards Jin Buhuan. In the face of this sudden attack, Jin Buhuan was caught off guard and was a little flustered for a moment. However, Jin Buhuan was a genius who had entered the Divine Prefecture elite list. Ordinary people couldn't compare to him. His ability to adapt was very strong. After a brief moment of panic, Jin Buhuan hurriedly threw a palm at the Inaction Sky Concealing Finger to fend off the attack. When Jin Buhuan struck out with his palm, a huge colorful palm shadow condensed in front of him and blocked the Inaction Sky Concealing Finger. Bang! When the Inaction Sky Concealing Finger landed on the colorful palm shadow, there was a loud bang. The colorful palm shadow trembled and twisted. However, although the colorful palm shadow was trembling and twisting, it wasn't destroyed. After being blocked by the inaction sky concealing finger, Jean Buhuan was pushed back by the huge impact of the inaction sky concealing finger. After sliding for dozens of meters, Jean Buhuan's body slowly came to a stop. He left a deep mark on the ground. After stabilizing his body, Jean Buhuan threw out a few more palms to disperse the inaction sky concealing finger. A quadruple kill genius. This kid is a quadruple kill genius. He might even be a quintuple kill genius. After defeating the inaction sky concealing finger, Jean Buhuan looked at Mo Qingyun with a different expression. He was shocked by Mo Qingyun's strength. He didn't expect Mo Qingyun's strength to be so strong that it was on par with his own. After all, he was a genius on the Divine Prefecture elite list. Even if he was ranked in the 900th percentile, he still had the ability to fight someone above his level. From this, it could be seen how astonishing Mo Qingyun's current performance was. Big Brother is being pushed back. Seeing that Jean Buhuan was pushed back dozens of meters by Mo Qingyun's attack, Golden Rock's face twitched as a strong shock rose in his heart. He really didn't expect that with his big brother's powerful strength, he would still be suppressed by Mo Qingyun. This was the first time he had seen a Heaven Dipper Stage 5 cultivator's battle prowess as terrifying as Mo Qingyun's. Second brother, you guys go first. I'll hold this kid back. After knowing how strong Mo Qingyun was, Jean Buhuan didn't expect to defeat Mo Qingyun. He just wanted to protect Jean Peng. Yes, Jean Peng's face turned pale when he heard Jean Buhuan telling him to run. He felt uneasy. From his point of view, Jean Buhuan's actions showed that he didn't have the confidence to defeat Mo Qingyun. Jean Peng didn't hesitate anymore. He turned around and prepared to run. You want to run? Do you think you can escape? Seeing Jean Peng trying to escape, Mo Qingyun took a step forward and charged at Jean Peng with the scorching halberd in his hand. Kid, if you want to touch my second brother, you'll have to go through me first. Jean Buhuan said darkly when he saw that Mo Qingyun had given up on him and was going after Jean Peng, who was running for his life. He immediately blocked Jean Peng behind him. You can't stop me. Looking at Jean Buhuan, who was blocking his way, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he uttered these cold words. Kid, you're too arrogant. Jean Buhuan's face twisted when he heard Mo Qingyun's disdainful words. He was furious. Chapter 871. Buddha Flaming Lotus Palm. Jean Buhuan stood in front of the golden rock and slammed his palm toward Mo Qingyun, blasting out a shocking wave of crimson elemental energy. As soon as the crimson elemental energy was unleashed, it turned into a crimson lotus flower, exuding a solemn aura. Bang! The dragon shadow halberd ray slammed into the crimson lotus flower, causing it to explode and turn into a mushroom cloud of flames. Under the impact of this mushroom cloud of flames, the dragon shadow halberd shadow instantly exploded apart. Fusing together with the mushroom cloud of flames, it exploded into a devastating storm of energy. As soon as the force storm was formed, it turned into a crimson tornado. As it spun, it grew larger and larger, like a rotating pillar that reached the heavens, causing one's heart to palpitate. Second brother, you should leave first. Jean Buhuan said to the golden rock behind him with a grave expression as he watched the fiery tornado erupting with a terrifying aura. Hearing Jean Buhuan's words, the golden rock did not dare to stay any longer and immediately retreated. The situation in front of him had completely exceeded his expectations, and he did not dare to stay any longer. Golden rock, you can't escape. You'll definitely die today. Seeing the golden rock trying to escape, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He lifted the middle finger of his right hand and pointed it at Jean Buhuan and the golden rock. Middle point killing finger. As soon as Mo Qingyun pointed his finger, a vortex formed on his middle finger and a black middle finger emerged from the vortex. As soon as the black middle finger appeared, it exploded with a terrifying aura, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Whoosh! A black light flashed and the black middle finger approached Jin Buhuan, blasting toward his chest. 100 flowers piercing finger. Looking at the black middle finger that was rapidly approaching him, Jin Buhuan did not dare to hesitate and quickly pointed his finger forward. A sea of elemental energy quickly gathered and formed a finger shadow that resembled a poisonous dragon drill. It collided with the black middle finger. When the two fingers collided, there was no huge commotion like before. Instead, the two fingers passed through each other. The middle point killing finger passed through the 100 flowers piercing finger and blasted into Jin Buhuan's chest, erupting with a terrifying wave of elemental energy. Puff! Jin Buhuan immediately spat out a mouthful of blood after being hit by the origin energy. His face turned from red to pale, and his aura gradually weakened. Bang! However, before Jin Buhuan could react, a muffled sound was heard from behind him. Hearing that, Jin Buhuan immediately turned around and saw the golden rock widening its eyes in disbelief. Apart from that, Jin Buhuan also saw a huge hole in the golden rock's chest. Second brother. Seeing Jin Peng's current state, Jin Buhuan's expression became anxious. He quickly grabbed Jin Peng's arm to support him. Beating a cow through a mountain. This kid's martial arts secret manual has the power to beat a cow through a mountain. The golden rock showed a pained expression as it stuttered in disbelief. However, before the golden rock could finish his sentence, he fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. He died with a grievance. Second brother. Looking at the dead golden rock on the ground, Jin Buhuan was filled with grief and indignation. He glared at Mo Qingyun and said furiously, "Kid, you killed my second brother. I'm going to skin you alive and pull out your tendons." As soon as he finished speaking, Jin Buhuan charged at Mo Qingyun with a crazed expression as if he had lost his mind. "You came at the right time. I'll send you to accompany the golden rock." Looking at Jin Buhuan who was charging towards him, Mo Qingyun's expression was calm as he uttered these cold words. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished his sentence, he gripped the scorching halberd with both hands and made a sweeping stance. Dong dong dong, at that moment, just as Mo Qingyun and the golden rock were about to continue fighting, a deafening sound of footsteps was heard. Then, Mo Qingyun and the others saw a huge cloud of dust, accompanied by the sound of footsteps, approaching them. Within the huge cloud of dust, there were many pitch-black figures that were constantly leaping forward. Leg demons. These were all leg demons. There were hundreds of them. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun, Jin Buhuan, and the others were shocked. Their expressions turned serious. Given the number of leg demons, it was impossible for them to deal with them. They had to leave before the leg demons got close. "Kid, I'll let you go this time. Next time, I'll kill you to avenge my second brother." Seeing the large group of leg demons approaching quickly, Jin Buhuan left with the golden rock's corpse after saying that. Seeing Jin Buhuan leave with the golden rock, Jin Buhuan's followers did not dare to stay. They endured their injuries and left as well. Mo Qingyun did not chase after Jin Buhuan and the others. Instead, he ran deeper into the Kanglan demonic valley. Hidden door. As Mo Qingyun headed deeper into the Kanglan demonic valley, he did not forget to use his martial soul super ability to conceal himself so that he could shake off the leg demons. As Mo Qingyun concealed himself, the leg demons tracking of him gradually weakened. After a while, the leg demons that were chasing after Mo Qingyun lost track of him. After losing track of Mo Qingyun, the leg demons changed their direction and chased after Jin Buhuan and the others. That was close. Seeing the leg demons retreating, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed. He let out a deep breath. After the battle with Jin Buhuan, Mo Qingyun had a clearer understanding of his strength. Without using his martial soul super ability, he could fight against a Heaven Star Border Pinnacle expert. If he used his martial soul super ability, he should be able to fight against a Heaven Star Border Pinnacle expert. Since he knew his strength, Emo Qinyun would not fight those leg demons head-on. The overall combat strength of hundreds of Heaven Star Border advanced leg demons was comparable to a Heaven Star Border intermediate expert. This was not something that Emo Qinyun could fight against. More importantly, the leg demon's speed was too fast. Emo Qinyun would be at a disadvantage if he fought against them. Emo Qinyun pondered silently. He began to look around and found that he had come to a basin. In this basin, there were no trees that could cover the sky. There were only all kinds of exotic flowers and herbs. This is? Emo Qinyun glanced at his surroundings with a curious expression on his face. He began to carefully examine his surroundings. After a careful observation, Emo Qinyun's attention was attracted by a spiritual herb among the exotic flowers and herbs. After seeing this stalk of spirit grass, Emo Qinyun's expression became excited and he walked towards it with a look of ecstasy. This was a spiritual herb with 7 leaves. In the middle of the 7 leaves was a fruit that looked like a human face. Mara Revival Herb. Looking at the exotic spiritual herb in front of him, Emo Qinyun exclaimed in surprise. He raised his hand and was about to pick it. At this moment, just as Emo Qinyun was about to pick the spiritual herb, a dangerous aura shrouded him. Chapter 872. At this moment, the giant creature in front of Emo Qinyun was a giant serpent with a single horn. To be exact, it was a serpent with a single horn. Its body contained some dragon blood. As the serpent twisted its body, its jet-black scales flashed with a dazzling cold light. The serpent's cultivation was not low. It had reached the quasi-transcendent realm and was only half a step away from the transcendent realm. Coupled with the strong constitution of a demonic beast, its true strength was probably not lower than a level 1 transcendent realm expert. It could be said that this serpent was the strongest opponent Emo Qinyun had encountered in the Kanglan Devil Valley. Single-horned black demonic serpent. Seeing the giant serpent in front of him, Emo Qinyun immediately recognized its origin. His expression became serious. Because the single-horned black demonic serpent had dragon blood, it not only had a strong body and strength, but also had the ability to spit out poisonous fog. Its terror was not as simple as it seemed. Before Emo Qinyun could react, a cloud of black fog was spat out from the single-horned black demonic serpent's mouth. As soon as the poisonous black fog was spat out, it turned into a devil's head and flew towards Emo Qinyun. As it flew, the poisonous fog ghost head let out a sharp cry, which made people tremble in fear. Evil creature, you're courting death. Facing the single-horned black demonic serpent's attack, Emo Qinyun's eyes turned cold. He stabbed forward with the scorching halberd in his hand. Emo Qinyun waved the scorching halberd and slashed out streaks of red halberd light, which formed a hemispherical protective layer. The black fog was blocked in front of him, and could not advance any further. Disperse! After waving the halberd several times to block the black fog, Emo Qinyun slashed out again. An even more violent wave of Yuan power erupted from the scorching halberd. A flaming dragon shadow flew out from it. As soon as the flaming dragon shadow appeared, it disappeared in a flash and collided with the poisonous fog ghost head. Roar! After being hit by the red dragon shadow, the poisonous fog ghost head let out a painful cry. Its expression became distorted, and it gradually dispersed in the air. Middle point killing finger. After defeating the poison mist ghost head, Emo Qinyun didn't stop attacking. He pointed his finger at the one-horned black demonic Jiao again. An astonishing finger force erupted from Emo Qinyun's middle finger, condensing into a huge finger. Bang bang bang! As soon as the giant finger was formed, it immediately bombarded the one-horned black demonic Jiao's body, causing a series of muffled sounds to be heard from the one-horned black demonic Jiao's body. At the same time, the one-horned black demonic Jiao's body was also sent flying and fell heavily to the ground. Boom! The one-horned black demonic Jiao's body landed on the ground. Under the weight of its enormous body, the ground shook. Roar! After being hit by Mo Qingyun's powerful attack, the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon let out a miserable shriek. Its eyes were filled with fear. It seemed that Mo Qingyun's powerful attack had caused him to fear Mo Qingyun. Perhaps the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon knew how powerful Mo Qingyun was, so it stopped attacking Mo Qingyun. Instead, it turned around and swam backward, preparing to escape. When the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon passed by the Morrow Resurrection Grass, it opened its bloody mouth and swallowed the Morrow Resurrection Grass. Evil creature, where do you think you're going? Seeing the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon swallowing the Morrow Resurrection Grass, Mo Qingyun's face immediately turned cold. His body turned into a residual shadow and chased after the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon. The Morrow Resurrection Grass was a treasure that could reconstruct Xiao Ye's body. How could he let the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon take it away? The one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon was indeed a demon beast comparable to the transcendent realm. Its body moved extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had passed through a patch of grass and disappeared. However, Mo Qingyun's soul cultivation was at the divinity realm. His senses were far more powerful than ordinary people. As soon as Mo Qingyun released his soul power, he discovered the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon and quickly chased after it. After chasing for a while, Mo Qingyun finally caught up with the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon. He raised his hand and took out a net-like treasure. Celestial trapping net. As soon as the celestial trapping net was taken out, it expanded rapidly and immediately trapped the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon. The celestial trapping net trapped the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon. It shrunk little by little until it finally trapped the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon firmly. Seeing that it was trapped in a large net, the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon began to struggle madly. It wanted to break out of the celestial trapping net and escape. The celestial trapping net was a treasure that could trap even high-level transcendent realm powerhouses. Naturally, it was not something that the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon could break out of. Looking at the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon struggling in the celestial trapping net, Mo Qingyun held the scorching flame halberd in his hand and stabbed at it. As the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon was firmly trapped, it naturally could not dodge Mo Qingyun's attack. Puff! The scorching flame halberd fell and directly pierced into the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's body, leaving a huge wound on its body. After the halberd pierced into the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's body, Mo Qingyun twisted his wrist and rotated the scorching flame halberd inside the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's body. Crack! As the scorching flame halberd rotated, a crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard from the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's body. Subsequently, the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's violent struggle weakened little by little until it finally stopped moving. After killing the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon, Mo Qingyun bent down and prepared to cut open the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's stomach and take out the Mara resurrection grass that it had swallowed. Boy, stop right now. This one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon is not something that you can touch. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun was about to make his move, a cold voice came from behind him. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's hand stopped and he turned around to look behind him. He saw several young men with gloomy smiles on their faces as they walked towards him step by step. This one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's cultivation has actually reached the quasi-divine realm. It can easily pierce through the scales of the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon. It seems that the halberd in this boy's hand is an incredible treasure. A quasi-divine realm one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon's tendons are treasures that can be used to refine bowstrings. Not only that, the skin of a quasi-divine realm one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon can also be used to refine an extraordinary defensive treasure armor. In my opinion, the net that trapped the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon is the rarest treasure. Several people walked in front of Mo Qingyun and looked at the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon on the ground with greed in their eyes. Then, one of them walked out with a cold expression and said, "Boy, leave the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon here, and you can get lost. This one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon is not something that you can touch." Hearing this person's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly, and a chill spread out from his body. He didn't object to these people murdering and robbing, but he couldn't tolerate murdering and robbing people. Moreover, the one-horned black demonic Jiao dragon had swallowed the Mara resurrection grass, which was the main ingredient for refining the 9 transformation body-shaping elixir. How could Mo Qingyun let it go so easily? Chapter 873. After probing for a while, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of these people's cultivation bases. These people's cultivation bases were much higher than Hong Lei's group. 2 of them were at the late stage of Heavenly Dipper. Other than these 2, the other 3 were in the peak of Heaven Star Border Stage 8. They were only a step away from Heaven Star Border Stage 9. After learning about these people's cultivation bases, Mo Qingyun became vigilant in his heart to prevent these people from launching a sneak attack. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was guarding against them, he waved his hand at the celestial trapping net and kept it in his Qiankuan bag. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had kept the celestial trapping net, one of them walked out and glared at Mo Qingyun. He scolded, "Brat, did you not understand what we said? We are asking you to get lost. You have to leave that net behind. Not only that net, but also the halberd you used just now and your Qiankuan bag." Another person sneered at Mo Qingyun and added. As soon as the 2 people finished speaking, the 5 people stared at Mo Qingyun with cold, bloodthirsty, and greedy eyes like hungry wolves. Mo Qingyun ignored the 2 people's words and kept the single-horned black demonic Jiao in his Qiankuan bag. After keeping the single-horned black demonic Jiao in his Qiankuan bag, Mo Qingyun turned his head to look at the 5 people and confronted them with an indifferent expression. "Brat, you are courting death." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the young man who had asked Mo Qingyun to hand over the celestial trapping net was furious. From his point of view, this brat with a cultivation base at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper actually dared to ignore his word. This was simply an insult to him. Immediately after, the young man did not say anything more to Mo Qingyun. He waved the long sword in his hand and slashed at Mo Qingyun. Mu Yun's sword art whirlwind clouds. As soon as the young man attacked, the long sword in his hand slashed out several sword rays. The sword rays were extremely fast. In a flash, they were within 10 meters of Mo Qingyun and bombarded the Yuan Qi shield that surrounded Mo Qingyun's body. Under the impact of the sword rays, the Yuan Qi shield that surrounded Mo Qingyun's body was immediately blasted open. I didn't expect Wu Yang's Mu Yun sword art to have reached the peak of the 6th level. He's only a step away from the 7th level. Once Wu Yang cultivates the Dusk Cloud sword technique to the 7th level, he will have the combat power to kill 2 prodigies. He will be qualified to enter the Divine Prefecture hero ranking. The Dusk Cloud sword art is an Earth-grade peak-tier martial art. With Wu Yang's Heaven Dipper 8th stage cultivation base, it's enough for him to fight against ordinary Heaven Dipper peak cultivators. Seeing Wu Yang make a move, the others at the side were shocked. They were surprised by Wu Yang's strength. Sky-breaking halberd. Facing Wu Yang's attack, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless. He immediately brandished the blazing halberd in his hand. Under Mo Qingyun's brandishing of the halberd, a terrifying wave of yuan qi burst out from the blazing halberd. At the same time, the yuan qi shield that surrounded his body turned from colorless to red, forming a sea of flames. Roar streaks of red dragon shadow halberd light rushed towards the incoming sword rays like a dragon emerging from the sea. Once the dragon shadow halberd light got close to the sword rays, it spat out flaming dragon breaths and waved its red dragon claws wildly. Facing the flaming dragon breaths and dragon claws, the sword rays that were heading towards Mo Qingyun were instantly destroyed and dissipated in the air. After destroying the sword rays, the dragon shadow halberd light didn't decrease in power and continued to attack Wu Yang. This brat's yuan qi is actually stronger than Wu Yang's. It's too shocking. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack, the surrounding four people's expressions changed. Their eyes were filled with shock. This was the first time they had seen a Heaven Dipper Stage 5 cultivator with such a robust level of elemental energy. After a short moment of shock, the other four people didn't dare to hesitate and immediately blocked the dragon shadow halberd light for Wu Yang. Under the joint attack of Wu Yang and the other four, the dragon shadow halberd light that Mo Qingyun slashed out was destroyed in a short while. Brat, I underestimated you. I didn't expect you to be a triple kill prodigy. After destroying all the dragon shadow halberd light, Wu Yang's face darkened. He wanted to attack Mo Qingyun again. I was careless just now and let you have the upper hand. You won't be so lucky next time. With that, Wu Yang leaped into the air and slashed his sword at Mo Qingyun. This brat's cultivation isn't weak. I'm afraid Wu Yang won't be able to take him down in a short time. Just as Wu Yang was about to attack, one of the late-stage Heaven Star Border Stage 9 said with a serious expression, "The battle between Wu Yang and that brat is too loud. I'm afraid it will attract a large number of leg devils. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, let's attack together and take care of that brat quickly." Alright. Hearing this person's words, the other three nodded their heads and agreed with his suggestion. Following that, the four of them shamelessly attacked Mo Qingyun together with Wu Yang. You want to bully me with numbers? Seeing Wu Yang and the other four attacking together, Mo Qingyun's face revealed a mocking smile. His expression turned cold as he said, "Since that's the case, I won't hold back anymore." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he prepared to cast his martial soul super ability, Boiling Blood Qi, to increase his blood qi and combat strength. However, before Mo Qingyun could use his martial spirit's blood boil, a mocking voice sounded in his ears. "Wu Yongjun, Tang Mingtao, the two of you are getting more and more shameless." 5 Heaven Star Border Stage 9 cultivators actually ganged up on a Heaven Star Border Stage 5 cultivator. As the mocking voice sounded, Mo Qingyun saw a green-robed man holding a folding ruler slowly walking towards him. "Wu Dun, I advise you to mind your own business. It won't do you any good." Wu Yongjun's face darkened when he heard the man's words. He said coldly and threateningly, "You'd best find a place to hide, you remnant of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. Otherwise, if the people of the Celestial Sword Sacred Mountain, the Tianyang Sacred Mountain, and the Sea-Shattering Sacred Mountain discover you, don't end up with your corpse in the wilderness." Wu Dun? After Mo Qingyun heard that, he subconsciously turned his head to look at Wu Dun. A sense of familiarity rose in his heart. After thinking for a while, this Wu Dun and the one in Mo Qingyun's mind merged together. If he was not mistaken, this Wu Dun in front of him could be the eldest son of Mo Qingyun's fifth disciple, Wu Qiupeng. Chapter 874. So it's that little guy. I didn't expect to meet him here. After learning about Wu Dun's identity, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He was very satisfied with Wu Dun's performance. Seeing injustice on the road, drawing his sword to help. This seemed like a simple thing, but it was the best reflection of Wu Dun's character. From this, it could be seen that Wu Dun was a very upright and righteous person. Humph. Sooner or later, I, Wu Dun, will kill my way to Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, Tianyang Sacred Mountain, and Sea Breaking Sacred Mountain. Wu Dun snorted disdainfully at Wu Yongjun's words. He said coldly, "But before that, I will kill you dogs of the 3 sacred mountains and stop you from bullying me with your numbers." As soon as Wu Dun finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and directly attacked Wu Yongjun and the others. "Wu Dun, you think too highly of yourself." Facing Wu Qinfeng's attack, Wu Yongjun's expression turned gloomy. He curled his lips in disdain and said, "Don't forget that Tang Xiaotao and I are ranked much higher than you on the Divine Continent Elite ranking. We are ranked 746th and 721st respectively. You, on the other hand, are ranked 700th. The ranking on the Divine Prefecture Genius list doesn't represent the level of one's strength." Wu Dun's face was calm. Not only was he not scared by Wu Yongjun's words, but his fighting spirit was also aroused. The folding ruler in Wu Dun's hand shook and immediately doubled in length, turning into a 2-meter-long ruler. So close, yet so far. Wu Dun held the ruler and stabbed it at Wu Yongjun. Immediately, an afterimage appeared on the ruler. As soon as the afterimage appeared, it appeared in front of Wu Yongjun in a flash. Cold Moon Wind Sword, Sword Breaking Stars. Facing Wu Dun's attack, Wu Yongjun did not panic at all. He casually waved the long sword in his hand and hit the tip of Wu Dun's ruler. Ding! A crisp sound of metal clashing could be heard. Then, the ruler and the long sword stopped. Neither of them could move forward an inch. They were in a stalemate. At this moment, where the tip of the ruler and the tip of the sword collided, 2 hemispherical light waves were formed. The light was dazzling. Seeing that Wu Dun wanted to compete with him in terms of origin energy, Wu Yongjun revealed a complacent sneer and said, "Wu Dun, your cultivation is inferior to mine. If you compete with me in terms of origin energy, you will lose without a doubt. Wu Yongjun, don't be too complacent. It's too early to make a conclusion before the outcome is out." In response to Wu Yongjun's words, Wu Dun revealed a resolute expression and said something that didn't seem to be a big deal. At this moment, while Wu Dun and Wu Yongjun were fighting, Mo Qingyun and Tang Mingtao's group were also in full swing. However, even though Mo Qingyun's cultivation was far lower than Tang Yongtao's group, not only did he not fall into a disadvantageous position, he even seemed to be suppressing Tang Yongtao's group. Middle point destruction finger. Mo Qingyun pointed his finger, and a ball of terrifying black mist-like essence energy converged on his middle finger. Following which, a giant finger that was several meters long formed in front of Mo Qingyun. Once this giant finger was formed, it crushed towards Tang Mingtao's group like a hot knife through butter. So strong! Sensing the power of the middle point destruction finger, Tang Mingtao's group's expression changed drastically. A look of horror appeared on their faces. They really didn't expect that a Heaven Dipper Stage 5 cultivator could actually execute such a move. After witnessing the power of Mo Qingyun's finger, Tang Mingtao didn't dare to hesitate and immediately chose to dodge the attack. Even though Tang Mingtao avoided Mo Qingyun's finger, the remaining 4 weren't so lucky. Bang bang bang! Under the bombardment of the middle point destruction finger, Wu Yang's group was instantly enveloped by the finger force of the middle point destruction finger and was directly blasted away. Puff! After being hit by the middle point destruction finger, Wu Yang's group was immediately sent flying. Their faces turned pale and they spat out blood. Especially the person standing at the back. After being blasted away by the middle point destruction finger, he fainted. No one knew if he was dead or alive. This brat is so strong. I'm afraid I can't deal with him with my strength alone. After witnessing the power of the middle point destruction finger, Tang Mingtao's expression was uncertain. After a while, he had a plan in his heart. First, I'll get rid of this troublesome Wu Dun. Then, with Wu Yongjun's and my combined strength, we should be able to deal with this brat. After thinking about it, Tang Mingtao didn't hesitate anymore. His body moved and slashed towards Wu Dun. Suddenly, a serpent-like blade light burst out from Tang Mingtao's long saber. Once the serpent-like blade light appeared, it was like a golden snake coming out of its cave. It approached Wu Dun at an extreme speed. At this moment, Wu Dun was competing with Wu Yongjun in terms of the amount of origin energy. He couldn't divert his attention to block Wu Dun's attack. Seeing this, Wu Dun withdrew the origin energy on the folding ruler and dodged Tang Mingtao's attack. Wu Dun, you dare to be distracted while fighting with me. You're courting death. Seeing that Wu Dun was distracted to deal with Tang Mingtao, Wu Yongjun's face revealed a gloomy smile. The long sword in his hand swept horizontally. A crescent-shaped sword light, like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, blasted towards Wu Dun's chest at an extreme speed. Bang! Wu Yongjun's attack was too fast. In addition, it happened so suddenly that Wu Dun was unable to react in time and was directly swept by the sword light. Puff! After being hit by Wu Yongjun's sword, Wu Dun's body was sent flying. He spat out blood from his mouth and heavily crashed into a huge tree behind him. Crack! Under the impact of Wu Qinfeng's attack, this huge tree, which required several people to encircle it, was directly smashed into pieces. After sending Wu Dun flying with a sword, Wu Yongjun didn't hold back at all. He once again slashed towards Wu Dun with his sword. Not only that, when Wu Yongjun attacked Wu Dun, Tang Mingtao also slashed towards Wu Dun. Not good. Seeing that Wu Yongjun and Tang Mingtao were working together to deal with Wu Dun, Mo Qingyun's expression changed and revealed a trace of worry. He was very clear in his heart that with Wu Dun's current situation, it was impossible for him to withstand the joint attack of Wu Yongjun and Tang Mingtao. I light sword light. Immediately, Mo Qingyun no longer held back and displayed the eye light sword light to block Wu Yongjun and Tang Mingtao. Then, a purple light flashed in Mo Qingyun's eyes and a fierce aura erupted. As the purple light flashed in his eyes, two sharp sword lights instantly flew out and blasted towards Wu Yongjun and Tang Mingtao. Sensing the attack of the eye light sword light, Wu Yongjun and Tang Mingtao's expressions changed. They immediately stopped and blocked the attack of the eye light sword light. At this moment, Mo Qingyun rushed forward and arrived beside Wu Dun. He raised his hand and helped him up. I'll take you out of here first. After helping Wu Dun up, Mo Qingyun didn't plan to stay any longer. He decided to find a place to treat Wu Dun's injuries first. Mo Qingyun could see that Wu Dun had suffered a serious injury from Wu Yongjun's sword. If he didn't treat his injuries immediately, it might leave behind hidden dangers for his future cultivation. Kid, you can't escape. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.